And we're live.
Joy.
It's June. It is June 1st, in the year of our Lord, 2022.
Oh,
We are
my birthday's coming up.
what?
My birthday's coming up.
Well, congratulations on nearly completing a trip around the sun.
Yeah, a couple days. The 5th.
Tonight's soda is brought to you by tonight's episode is brought to you by sort of Diet Dr. Shasta. Diet Dr. Shasta. If Shasta would like to sponsor us in any way, shape, or form, please contact me, Diet Dr. Shasta. An extremely fine and wonderful diet soda. Highly recommended.
Is that a Diet Dr. Pepper clone?
It is, but it's really good. And also at my local Menards, it's like $3 for a 12-pack still.
Menards.
Wait, like Lincoln and Nikki like the Dr. Diet DDP.
Yeah, DDP baby. Diamond Dallas Page.
I just had this leftover can that they did not drink, and it tasted completely stale. Does it go bad?
Not that I'm aware of.
Chemicals. How can it go bad?
It's bad.
Well, no, it's called DDP, and like if you're a fan of wrestling, Diamond Dallas Page, and he came out with the diamond cutter. He'd come out, and
Oh,
bang! You know, that was his finisher. The nobody kicked out of the diamond cutter, and then except
Nobody
for Goldberg.
put baby in a corner. Nobody.
What?
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Well, look who decided to darken our corner of the internet once again after
I had
skipping
some
us
things
for
to do
a
the
couple
last few weeks. I'm busy.
Excuses.
Excuses.
Some little.
BGG Con, BGG Spring.
Excuses are like a-holes. You're both one. No, I mean, whatever.
You didn't have a lot of friends as a kid, did you, Lance?
I had tons of friends, just like I have tons of friends now.
Yeah, so we had BGG Con this weekend.
BGG Spring Con.
How'd it go, Scotty?
Did you trim your hair, dude? Is it up to your shoulders?
I trimmed a few inches off the hair. Yeah,
I was gonna say it looks like you trimmed up a little
getting
bit.
longer. I don't like it.
Well, that's what happens.
I don't like the curly ends. I like it straight. I like it straight with a little.
You like your vodka straight with a
Tequila.
little
Notice
twist.
you guys didn't make it this time.
I was waiting
The
for my
spring?
car. Where is it?
Waiting for the car.
Where is it?
Where's my car?
I mean,
I thought it was going to pick up Anthony than me. What happened?
Anthony.
Yeah.
I would consider going to the spring.
So it was a weird feeling. So I had this weird feeling.
Okay.
There was very little pre-con buzz, if you know what I mean.
Is there usually?
Not that I was really looking for it. I mean, not for spring, but it's been 3 years since we've had the con. So I thought there was
yeah.
some kind of buzz. I mean, there was a little bit of buzz on BGG, here and there. The flea market, I guess there was pre-range sales. There was like 2,000 games on that list. But I was like, man, are people going to show up? I was kind of wondering. Like,
You got their money. What do you care? I'm kidding, Scott.
they got their money, but if they don't show up, it's a fail, right? So I mean, it's like you can't really just be like like it has to, I'm not a fly-by-night operation. This is our 22nd year
I'm messing with you, Scott.
of working. No, yeah, I know.
So was this feeling similar to like the first BGG Con?
It's beyond that, actually. So it's interesting. So I showed up, went to the hotel, got there Thursday night. There's a few people playing new game, the night before. It's very similar to early BGG cons where people would show up the night before the show. Maybe like a couple hundred. So I went into that room and looked around and played some games. Had some friends fly in from Columbus that I know and played games with them. Saw some friends I hadn't seen in a long time. The Shipyards Jury came in that night too,
That's cool.
and we got to go out to dinner with them. And it was a bunch of new people, so I had not met them before.
Oh, that
Christoph-
jury changes.
Sorry,
That jury changes your year.
well, it
Like I
doesn't-
assume there was a head guy and then somebody.
They have members coming. Yeah, they have new members coming in.
Oh, okay.
Some people leave, like some people retire, some people die.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Some people resign. So we had new people, and they were all really, really fantastic individuals from the Spiel des Jahres jury, and we got a list of all the games to buy. Because on Monday they announced their nominees for the categories, and then we got the games as soon as we could, and they brought some games with them, and then we set it all up. So that was fun. But it was weird. So Friday I showed up, Thursday night, it's like, okay, this seems like a normal con, but I still had this like really weird nagging feeling like shit, no one's gonna show up. But holy cow, did they show up?
You were wrong.
It was the biggest spring we've ever had, and it was like
That is good.
crazy. It was awesome. It blew me away. I was like, wow, okay, yep. Spring's back. So
Well, I thought
They-
spring happened every year.
It just said it was the first one in 2 years.
I'm joking.
you know what I'm saying, Lance.
You have
I
the
had this
spring,
weird
you have
nagging
the
feel.
season.
Here's the deal. The tickets have rolled over for 2 years.
Oh, really? I
Right?
didn't
We
know
sold
that.
tickets in 2019.
So what was the
2020.
attendance
What?
of what was the attendance of the con? If you
little
want
close
to
to
share,
2,000.
if you're comfortable sharing
It
the
was right around 2000, maybe a little
Yeah.
under that. I think I can't remember the exact number. Maybe 1900, something like that.
Yeah, I thought you said that before the con. That was at capacity.
that ain't so bad.
Yeah.
1850s, 1890, 1900 something. And then that's a pretty big show. I
Yeah.
don't know. We started when we first did spring, it was 500. That was 6 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Ever was called BGG Fam. BGG.
Yeah.
Remember that?
And nobody showed
I
up.
do remember when it's called BGG Fam.
Here's the deal. It's truly turned into a family con now. Not because we said it, but we let all ages come, right? So there was quite a few families there, lots of kids,
Define kids.
not an annoying amount of kids.
Mhm.
Kids under, let's say under 13, because BGG Con itself has an age limit, 13.
Okay.
So, it's been 3 years. So 2019 was the last spring, or sorry, 2018, or no, 2019 was the last spring. 2020, we sold tickets in, or, I forget when we started selling tickets for 2020. But of course, 2020 canceled, which then became 2021 canceled. So 2022, it was 3 years since the last con, that one. I was like, our people who bought tickets, we either asked for a refund, which we gave hundreds of refunds, but then those tickets all sold again, so sort of broke even. And then I was like, are there going to be a bunch of people who just like forgot they bought a ticket? Like we sent out the messages and emails and everything, but you never know. After not coming for 3 years, I would have been like, ticket don't, whatever. My ticket doesn't matter to me anymore. I don't. That was my feeling. Anyway, it was not the case. We had a small amount of people not show up, maybe like 5%, something like that. So
overall,
it was a success, smashing success.
Smashing
The
success.
flea market, holy shit! There was, oh my god, I've never seen such a busy. I mean, I don't even remember BGG Con being this.
now you're gonna make me feel bad. that I
I'm not
wasn't
kidding,
there.
dude. I walked into the room. I was like, I think we got too many people in here. I was like, do we need to make sure we're not doing I felt it was a little too many people in one room at one time, if you know what I mean. And then walked around, and I saw one of my friends I haven't seen in like 10 years. It was so awesome. He was there. I looked at him.
I wasn't there. What are you talking
like,
about?
Zach, I'm seeing you recently.
I know.
We said friend.
It was a friend of mine,
Brr.
senator of New Mexico, I think. And
Oh.
he was there and he was giving away his games mostly. It was $10 each. Everything was $10. And he apparently sold a white box version of Dungeons and Dragons. Is that a rarity? Is that important? Is that a thing?
For how much?
$10.
You gotta be effing
I'm
kidding
not
me.
kidding. No,
Mother.
no. The everybody was like bobbing him. He was like, "Oh, he goes, everything's $10. I don't care. I just want to get rid of stuff." Yeah, I know. He let it all go.
Why did you now?
You weren't there?
There was plenty of things in that flea market that was pretty. I think the prices. Here's the weird thing. I feel like flea market prices are still a little too high for a flea market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like games that I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good game, but I would not want to. I mean, I don't need it. I don't need it. You know, and I'm not going to pay $30 for a game that came out 10 years ago. That
Yeah.
$30 is too high in my opinion. It should be like 20 or 10. You know, stuff like that.
Well, I think it depends on the game, but yeah, for the most part, I think you're right.
So yeah, white box is valuable, says Kabuki Kid.
White box is very valuable.
Soon as I walked,
I
in
mean,
the
it
door-
does. It depends a lot on what's inside of it. It depends a lot on the condition. It
Well, we
depends
need
a
to find
lot-
out who ended up with it.
and it depends a lot on what edition it is.
Sure.
You know, so there's a lot of variability there.
There's a lot
but
of
I mean,
what ifs. Here's the deal. He obviously he knows what he had. As soon as I walked in the door, someone told me, he goes, someone's selling a white box D&D for $10. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. But anyway, so I thought, and then it was told to me by another person, and then the staff, you know, I was talking to John, and he was like, did you hear about the D&D? I'm like, yes, I've heard about the D&D box. I mean, within 5 minutes, 3 different people told me, like, what's, and the crowd, whatever, I took a picture of the crowd. It was pretty crazy. Anyway, walked around, tried to find something. I didn't really find anything I really wanted. You know, I got a lot of stinking games, dude. I don't need anything. But you never know. There's always something. We were looking for a copy of
Viking Attid?
that and
Yeah,
a copy of Black Orchestra. Not a single copy of Black Orchestra was there.
Really?
No. Christoph wanted it.
That's not that old though, right?
No, it's
Years.
not, and reprinted it too.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a pretty easy one to track down if you really want to track it down. You just gotta be willing to pay $60-70 for it.
Yeah, I heard it was a pretty good. I
Ebony?
never played. But I heard it was a decent one.
I mean, I'm sure Phil DeBerry's got a ton in his
He's got
In
a,
his
he's got
garage.
he's got his case of designer copies.
somewhere.
I haven't looked on BGG if it's available. This was somebody who came from Germany. I don't know if it got sold in Germany because I don't know if they don't have the swastikas on there, do they?
No, but it might be considered.
Yeah, there's I think they've relieved that law, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, the
But all
word.
the swastikas are censored everywhere in Germany. If you ever see an exhibit with,
Yeah.
because there's a at the Miniature Wonderland in I forget what city where it is. It's I can't. I had it for a second and I lost it. There's a place called Miniature Wonderland, which is just everything's in miniature. The whole place, it's trains running around in cities. Like
That sounds cool.
But they have a whole exhibit of a it's like a the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Oh, okay.
And it's a bunch of dioramas all in a room. And in one of the dioramas, you can see the red flag with this, and it's a white circle.
Right.
It's been censored. So,
Indeed.
what was I going to say?
Couldn't tell you.
It went well.
I pulled out 50 games or so. I mean, and we pulled out hundreds of games to sell for the charity auction, not auction, charity sale. Donated all those games were $10. Donated all of it to Cafe Momentum. Sold every single game except for maybe 20 things, 30 things that were not
All right.
sellable in my opinion. But I walked around and before the show, I pulled a few things myself. I pulled out a Lord of the Rings Confrontation Deluxe version, which is
Ooh.
awesome. I never played that one.
Oh no.
Have you played that one?
Yeah. The 2-player one.
Yeah, 2-player. Yeah, 2-player.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I got the not the deluxe one. I got the smaller one. It's
The
pretty
deluxe
cute.
one's nice. It's fun. It's fun. Played that a few times with the friends from Columbus, and they played each other, and then we played it for a few hours. So pretty fun. Pulled out a Comancheria, which is a GMT game. Comancheria. I don't know how to say that. I pulled out a Tutankhamun, our first printing that was never been played. Tutankhamun Reiner Knizia, the King Tut.
Oh,
Tutankhamun.
right.
Pulled out. What else did I pull out? I feel like Wizards Academy. Do you hear that game? Wizards. I know everybody. So I've been looking for Wizards Academy for a long time. Never seen it for sale. So I was like, okay, grabbing that, just because I want to play it at least one time and then see what it's all about.
I think I remember that game.
Yeah, I don't remember any. I mean, I think I backed. I mean, obviously I backed it because it's in the library. So it was basically a copy that we had purchased from
I don't
Kickstarter.
remember.
But I don't remember the game at all, and I don't think I played it. So, what else did I pull? I feel like I pulled something else. I can't remember, but I pulled about half dozen games for myself, and then we pulled out a ton of like what I would call expensive games, which we
Okay.
set aside, and we sold almost all of them.
It's good.
the
What would be
price.
an
We're way cheaper.
expensive
I mean,
game?
$50 BSG.
Like name me a game or something.
Battlestar
You just
Galactica.
said $50
$50.
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yeah. Was it just
Carcassonne
the base
City.
game or was
Yeah,
it
it's just the
all?
base game. Yeah,
Oh,
just the
okay.
base game. Descent first edition with an expansion.
I just packed away all my first edition Descent.
We had a Carcassonne City in the wood box.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
That's hard to find.
Yeah, it is.
Four coin games for $75.
That is cheap.
A bunch of war games that I have I let Candace decide if she goes, oh yeah, you got to pull this out. It's worth at least $100. I'm like, okay. A bunch of war games that I don't know and not worth, more than $10. So way more. If anything was like, I basically gave everybody the idea or the guideline that if it was more than 100, pull it aside. If it's 50, don't worry about it. Let it go.
Yeah.
So, but there was some good stuff in that. I mean, I feel like there was a lot of good stuff in that group. So I think we were close to $10,000 raised for charity there.
That's
Not
good.
quite 10,000. It was less games than we normally sell. I think we normally do 15,000. So I would say it was 50% less. Not 50%, 30% less. But it was good. It was solid. It was a good show.
And did you have fun though?
Oh, I had so much fun. I played so many games.
Did you? What was your favorite
I played
one?
games day and night. Say what?
Favorite one. Top 3. We'll give you
Favorite game I played. The top 10 is the best game I played.
Top 10.
It was one of the nominees from the Spiel des Jahres.
I never heard of it. Okay.
It's called Top. Yeah, exactly.
I'll have to look
It has
into
not
it.
come out in English yet. It's top 10.
Ah,
So basically, it's what you do is there's a chief, and they read a card that basically gives a situation. So you're stranded in the Sahara Desert. What is some equipment that you would bring along with you to ensure your survival, from completely useless to essential? And there's a range, right? So it's 1 to 10. And then you deal out cards 1 to 10 randomly to every player face down. So let's say I get dealt a 3 or 2. Let's say I get a 2. I might say, oh, I'm going to bring sand, or I'm going to bring a vacuum cleaner, right? Like that's so the 1s are supposed to be like utterly ridiculous, and the 10 is supposed to be completely essential.
Right.
So I think the first time I played that, I got a 10 dealt to me, and I said I brought a fully stocked Learjet with a full flight crew. That was my answer. So it is a cooperative game. You basically try to, and then so the chief then basically hears everybody's response, and they have a card too. So they actually started off. They set the tone of the game. So let's say they get dealt a card, right? They start off, and then everybody goes around and says something, and then they basically have to pick the numbers in order from low to high. So they want to go, let's say, okay, the person with sand is first. You flip to the card, okay, it's a 2. And then there's a 4. Let's say the next person's a 4, then a 5, then a 7, then an 8. But then if you mess up, if you don't get one in order, so let's say you go 2 and then a 5 and then a 4, that's called a bust. So you flip over a chip, which is a poop chip. It's unicorn poop. And so if you miss then you start at the number 4, and then you used to go up from there. So it's you have to pick the numbers in order. And my clue that I chiefed was we're playing a game of hide and seek in New York City. Name a place you would hide from completely obvious to you're never gonna find me, right? So the 1 in 10. So that was pretty cool. Someone said I'm going to watch Shrek or something. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm like, okay, you're like a 5 or 6. Like that's a 5 or 6. And then the other one's like, I'm gonna go busk on the corner of blah 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 whatever. Okay, so that was a 1 or 2. And then what did Kevin Kelly was there? He said, I'm gonna be in Bora Bora, which is sort of not really. I mean, whatever. You make the rules of the game. So yeah. So that was number 1. Number 2 is Wonderland's War. It's pretty awesome. You guys play that?
George. No, I have not.
It's a new Kickstarter from the Skybound, James Hudson. It's Alice in Wonderland. It's Battle Quacks. It's Quacks with a battle element. And lots
And
of
you like that? I'm surprised.
Lots of chrome. Yeah, no, I really did.
I thought you didn't get into the combat thing too much.
It's a little better than that. It's not really like you're attacking somebody, but you're just trying to outlast them. So you're drawing chips out of a bag and building up a battle score, and you want to last longer than everybody else. It's an area of control. That was pretty fun. I played the Alice character. You get a lot of powers. There's lots of little bells and whistles, lots of things to twiddle. What's the third best game? Mille Fiori. That's the Reiner Knizia one with the glass. It's not out in the States yet, but it should be here soon, I'm guessing. It's fun. It's a card drafting game. There you go, 3.
That is 3.
Now, what's the real game? What did Michelle?
Oh, you know what? I forgot. Foundations of Rome. That's the number 1. I forgot about Foundations of Rome. So we played a bunch of Foundations.
It was so great. You forgot all about it.
I played it so early in the con. We played it a bunch of times that I was like, okay, well, I'll play other games now. But no, Foundations of Rome is number 1. Topten is number 2. Wonderland's War is number 3. And Mille Fiori is number 4. There you go.
There we go. What did Michelle like? The real gamer.
She liked Cascadia.
Cascadia?
That was one of the nominees.
Oh, yeah.
We had a really good game of Cascadia. It was really fun. And she really grokked it.
Oh, you got to play that one too. I haven't been in a gaming group in a while though. I've been meaning to go back. I forgot the day this week. Forgot what day it was.
We played a bunch of the kids' games. Kids' games are all fun. We played, and then the advanced games was Dune and Dune Imperium and Cryptid, and what was the other one? Dune, Cryptid, and something else. I can't remember.
I don't know.
Let's see if I can find it. Ooh, my screen is bright.
Matthew.
Hello. Well, well, well. Look who came back to apologize.
What are you sorry for, Matt?
I'm Canadian. We're always sorry.
Got
Yeah.
a point.
Speaking of Canadian, I saw this trailer for The Man from Toronto. Have you seen this?
No,
With Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson.
no. It
I'm
sounds
unfamiliar.
Kevin Hart, Woody Harrelson is this torture savant that he gets information out of people by torturing them for for hire, and Kevin Hart ends up getting mistaken for this guy,
Okay.
and the whole movie is he's got to keep up this facade, and Woody Harrelson is trying to coach him to do these different things, and apparently it's hilarious. But I just found it funny that it was The Man from Toronto.
Game I couldn't remember the name of was Living Forest,
Didn't hear that one.
which is also very good.
I never. I do. remember.
It's only recently released in this in
Is it?
English. Yeah, it's no, it's not cooperative. It's a competitive game, but you're trying to either get the most fire extinguished, or grow the most flowers, or recruit, or what is the third thing? Plant the most trees.
Okay.
Pretty solid. It's really fun. That's a push your luck, like your deck building, but then you draw your deck and you decide to push your luck if if you want to go beyond.
Okay.
You flip a card, you flip a card, you flip a card. You're like, okay, flip a card. You're like, oh, do I want to push my luck? Could bust. That kind of thing. But you deck build. Yeah, all the games were really good.
All the games.
You didn't play any games that weren't any good.
I played what did I play that was not good? I don't think anything was not good. Played Scout. That's another nominee. That's a cool card. Trick taking it. It's a ladder game.
Okay.
So like if you have a hand of cards. So here's the thing. You have a hand of cards, you can't rearrange it. You can either at the beginning of the round take what you get dealt to you, or you can flip the cards over, like you can invert them and take the other side of them. They're double-sided cards.
Okay.
So what you're trying to do is get runs of 2 or single card. You can play single card or pairs or triples or quads. And when you lay down a trick, if anybody can beat you, they take your trick. So if I lay down a pair of 4s and Matt lays down a pair of 5s, he takes my 4s and that scores him. And then let's say it goes 5s, and then no one can beat the pair of 5s. So they will take up one of his cards and buy it from him for $1. Okay, and that's the point. So they give him a point for taking a card. Now it's only a 5. So the next person can play a 6 or a pair of 6s or whatever, run a run of 3 or whatever. So if you play a run of 5, that's it. Oh, and you cannot rearrange your hand. So you have to, if you take a card from a player, if you take one out of their trick, you can put it and insert it into your hand however you want. And it can go on either side. So it's a cool hand management, and you can alter your hand by buying cards from other players and putting it in your deck or your hand to make your hand better. Now, if it goes all the way around the table and it gets back to that person without someone taking their trick, the round's over. Done.
Good.
It's really good.
I'd have to be sober to play this one. Okay.
Kind of sober, yeah.
Yeah.
But Foundations Rum is awesome, dude. I don't know if any of you guys backed
I
that.
didn't hear what
It's
the
stupid. It's
I didn't
expensive.
back it. Maybe
It's expensive and it's overproduced, but the game is really good. It's awesome. It's really
and I'm sure I'd have fun, but then after I played it once, I'd never want to play it again. Which happened to me several times over Memorial Day weekend because a buddy of mine is a employee at a university and where I went to school actually. And anyway, so he was able to get a room like basically a big giant room with tables and everything like that. And basically they said, yeah, it's the Memorial Day weekend. So, hey, everybody, you can just in, which feels weird to me because it's like I was just walking on my old college campus, which like felt, because I hadn't been there. I hadn't walked on the campus in decades. And I felt weird. You just walking around. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, this is where yeah. And so I felt old and it was kind of nice to see everything that was new. But anyway, got to the room, went in there and sat down to like play some games and I played several games that I enjoyed, but I also got done and I was like, yeah, well, and now I don't ever want to play that again. I mean, none of them were bad. I enjoyed them.
I don't really like chain gaming. I mean, I'm playing things more than once in a row.
Well, it's like the best, probably the game I had the most fun playing was Planet Unknown, which admittedly,
yeah, I meant to play that. I didn't get around to it.
Yeah, so I mean, and I kind of ran away with the win on that one, which kind of didn't. I mean, that doesn't matter to me if I win or lose. But sure. It was one of those things where it was like, oh, everything just kind of fell into place. So I mean, if you haven't played Planet Unknown, it's a polyominoes game, yep. And you place these. You have a map of your planet, and there are certain rules as to what when you put a tile down, what you can do with the tile, and so you're playing. There's a lot of different ways to score points, and I'm not going to go into all of that. But the biggest thing about it is since it's a simultaneous play game, so the game goes quickly. So when it's your turn, there's basically this lazy Susan, and then there's basically think of a pie, and you think of all the little slices of the pie, and then so in your little slice of pie. You turn it around until you find the piece that you want, the way the piece works and how it, and then depending upon what's on the piece, there's certain symbols that do certain things. And again, not going to go full dive into it, but once you decide, and there's two options for each slice of pie. Until later on in the game, you might be out of certain options because everybody's taking those tiles, but you take one of those two tiles and you put it on your planet. At that point, everybody else has a slice of pie that's set aside for them because of where they are located on the table. And we played with 6, which is the maximum amount, which means that each slice of pie was taken each turn, which I thought was kind of neat. And I think this is one of those games that you can play with 6 and you don't even notice the difference between you and everybody else. And so I thought that was kind of neat, where your options depended upon whoever was the first player. You got to pick. I thought that was really cool, and I thought the game was fun. It was interesting. There were a few aesthetic choices as far as, because it was a deluxe Kickstarter version. There was a few of the deluxe components that I was kind of this doesn't really feel deluxe to me, but I don't know.
And the artwork looked a little.
What?
The artwork looked a little.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
to me.
No,
I mean, I get that, but it's weird.
The game was the game is fun, and it was, and so somebody said, "What'd you think of it?" And I said, "This would be a game that if I was walking around in a convention and somebody said, hey, do you want to come over here and say Planet Unknown?" I said, I'd probably say no, but I'd feel kind of let down by the fact that I didn't want to play it again. Which was the best way I could describe. That was, it was one of those things where it's but the thing is, I kind of feel that way about most games I play. I don't really want to play.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't want to play a game again.
There was so here's the only game that really triggered me, that basically got me to play it more than once was, 2 games. Bad Nations of Rome and Mille Fiori. Everything else I was just one and done.
It's because the thing about that is that, and I firmly
why was that, Scott? Was that
well, no, I'll tell you why. I mean, this is why I guess why, and I'll let Aldi. We've played too many games. Yeah, and I've said this repeatedly. We've played too many games
ourselves out.
Yes, so when somebody's like, oh my gosh, check out this game with all these little intricate things that you can do. We're like, even though, yes, the way that that game is presenting it to us, all those little pieces of the puzzle, it is a new way to put all those pieces of the puzzle together, but it isn't like new, like it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, because like somewhere deep in the back of
Yeah.
your head, you've
I
played
think
that
when
game before.
when I played Settlers Catan, I wanted to play it over and over and over and over and over and
Really?
like, never stop. We just like
No, either.
we played it 3 times in the first night we bought it. Now Foundations of Rome, it's only an hour. And
Really?
and
It's only an hour for that big
well,
of a
for
game?
4, if you go 6 or what's the max count? I think. Let me see what
You
it
never
is.
go to max count ever.
Well, yeah, but it's still pretty darn quick. Because you only do 3 things on your you have one of 3 choices on your turn. You're either buying a deed, which is a card. It goes up to 5.
Okay.
We played 5-player. You either buy a card that gives you a plot of land on a board. So it's a grid. It's a square grid, A through L and 1 through 10. So it's 100 spaces or whatever, right? No, I don't know if it's 100. I don't know what it is actually, but and then you put a marker on there. That's your whole turn. You pay for the card. You buy a land spot and you put a marker down. That's super fast. The second thing you can do is either build a building, and the buildings don't cost anything. You have to have the markers though. So if you build a 1x2, they're little models of buildings. You put that down. You take the markers and you're done. That's the second thing you do. The third thing you can do is take money. You add, and the cool thing is you have this really cool board that when you take the buildings off of it, and they're cute, they're amazingly produced 3D buildings, right? They're modeled. You look down and you're like, you get $5 plus whatever coins are visible on your board of the buildings you took off your board. It couldn't be faster, right? All you have to do is look at 6 cards and be like, do I want any of those cards? Well, I can't afford anything here. So you can basically stop looking. Once you get past a certain amount of money, you can't afford it anyway. You're like,
and that's very Emerson.
It's so quick. It's like I could probably play that game in
I could play that game in 2 notes.
2 notes.
I think a 3-player game could finish in under 4.
No, you're not.
Super smooth. And then you're like, and then you get all these interesting decisions. Like, do you want what building? There's 3 types of buildings. One that generates money. So if you put it down, you'll get more money and points. You'll get points. The second one, building type, generates population, which is an important victory point maker. Don't give you any money though. However, it will give you a lot of victory points. Third type of building is a civic building. Civic building interacts with the buildings around it. So whatever it's next to, like let's say you put a civic building down, it gives you 1 point per money. So any building that's around it that generates money will give you 1 point per money. So if you put down a really big building that generates you a lot of money, I'll stick my civic building next to it so I get points from you. But here's the thing, you can upgrade these buildings. You take them off the board and you can replace them with bigger buildings because you got more land. That's the game. At least to the base game. There's 5 expansions in the Emperor Pledge, by the way, which is not in the base game, which I was very like, if you buy the base game by itself, only 4-player, no expansions, which is still a pretty good game. I would play it. Emperor Pledge comes with like 5 expansions, plus monuments, plus a co-op, plus a 5th player. I'm like, what? Why would anybody buy the regular?
I'm sure it's a couple $100.
I mean, I'm in the weird one here, but I mean, who's going to play a game that much that they need to have all those different
people
options?
who likes to play games.
We played.
But that's again, I like to play games.
We played the co-op, and we were about to play the monument building. But once you get new players, you're like, well, I don't want to make them learn the monument expansion,
right? Yeah.
Which I'm not 100% sure how the monument expansion is, but yeah, Foundations are wrong. Anyway, whatever. That's the only game I felt like, oh, I want to keep playing it. And Millefiore, I wanted to play a few times because it's pretty fun. And the top 10 was fun. I played it 3 times with different groups. Everything else was kind of like, I'm done.
I thought it was just because you were at the con, you were just trying to get as many games in as one time. I didn't realize.
I don't try to change. I don't try to force chain game at a con. Like I like to take breaks in between and talk and stuff.
Yeah.
But this con was a little different. It was a little more gaming than usual for me. Wow.
I played
Yeah,
that.
I know what you're saying, Lance.
I know what I'm
You
saying.
get kind of gamed out. What is the blush is off the rose. Is that the phrase?
I mean, it's if you do
exciting.
a lot. Well, no, I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's like you have people. I mean, there's definitely oddities. I mean, like look at Steph. I mean, she'd play games for the rest of her life.
Oh, she'll play games all day and night.
Oh my god.
And never ever
Another
get
game
bored.
that's on my number 5 for my list. Marvel Remix. Do you know the
Remix?
Fantasy Realms card game? The one where you like it's called
Yeah,
Marvel.
Yeah.
So they've rethemed it with Marvel and done a pretty good job. It's called Marvel Remix. Remix. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty fun.
I played that Hokito again, the one from your store, the checkers one.
Oh, okay.
I'm still impressed with that one. I played it with my neighbor across the street who's from the Dominican Republic, and she was telling me they play checkers different down there, but they're real big on it. And she caught this on, like, I was pulling back because it was their first game, and then at one point I realized she's going to beat me, so I better kick it back in. I'm impressed with that, especially how people pick up on that real quick. And it's only like a 20-minute game at the most with the IP with Jen, like with the AP.
Oh yeah. I also like playing games again because the AP sort of goes away.
Yeah.
Like people get used to it. They get more used to the turns and like decisions.
Yeah, I always try to do at least twice, with the same group.
I played Cryptid 3 times. Mostly because the first round everybody was learning it. I have already played it, so I knew it. I was taking my turns lightning fast, and I was sort of like waiting for turns. Second time it was a little faster, and third time it was way fast.
Yeah.
Well,
So that one takes a lot of just no. Everybody sped up.
Yeah.
Made it more fun.
Yeah, that's natural.
Yeah.
See, I never game. For me, it's not the game. It's usually who I'm playing with. So if it's the same game over and over, that really doesn't bother me.
Oh, I agree. I mean, playing games with like, say, Barry is like pulling teeth.
Yeah, I know. But I get what you're saying. Like I said, I played that that big one Stegmeyer did with the bird eggs.
A big wingspan.
I went to the game night. They were playing with the expansion. They explained how the expansion worked, but I'd never played the original game. So I just caught on as we went on in the game. And I was like, okay, I get how it works, after like the third round. So I get what you're saying. You can pretty much tell what a game is, but yeah, I still don't. The game's just secondary to me, usually. Yeah.
Fair enough. What was I going to say?
I feel like there was more games I played.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
I played a ton. I mean, I was like, I think
what, 5 days, 6 days?
I mean, we didn't play anything long. We didn't play any, and no one was there taking their working their day job in between turns. Kidding. There was no, Unfathomable and no Eldritch Horror,
right?
Arkham Horror and no.
Oh, I get it.
I don't think they're games.
I see. I see what
you got the jab.
Yeah, I got the.
Love you, Lance.
Nah,
it's funny. I was just being funny.
Yeah, he was trying.
So there was a lot of quick games, learn the rules in under 5 to 10 minutes and then play. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I don't think them longer games are con games anyway. I don't understand people who do that, want to break out like Arkham Horror and learn it for the first time at the cons.
Oh,
I get because they
not to
can't
learn
get
it,
people, maybe,
but
but
playing it well, we did teach it that one night. We did teach Eldritch Horror, mostly, right?
they're like, we're going to set a day aside games. You know?
I set aside a lot of hours for that one.
Not
got,
necessary con.
We got 1/3 through that game, and I'm like, yep, I'm done. 3 hours in, I'm done.
Which one,
Eldritch Horror?
Arkham, Eldritch?
I
Eldritch.
see you got Wonderland's War back there. Have you played it?
Once, well, I played the prototype a long time ago, but yeah, I played it once a couple weeks ago.
Pretty good. It's pretty
It
good.
is. Did you play the deluxe version with the chips?
No, but I unpacked my deluxe version.
The plastic
I've
chips.
unpacked it and ready to roll for this weekend. I'm gonna
That's a
inflict it on
big
my game.
difference.
We haven't gotten together in 2 months. It's been 2 months.
Yeah, you're saying that.
2 weeks.
When I was in the hospital, it was kind of a problem, and then
It's always about you, Scott.
I was able.
What else you gonna do? You gotta play it in the hospital.
Well, I have a very short. This isn't a grievance. This is a no good deed goes unpunished story.
I'm gonna get a
No
drink
good
after
deed
that.
goes unpunished. No, I
Sure.
went into my local establishment to grab a soda earlier today, and like just the local corner store type thing. Put some gas in the pickup, and it was just, and I noticed that whatever ruffian who had been in there early had just treated the place like his own garbage and like left like lids and like straw wrappers and things, just left the place, so I was like, well, what a-hole did this? And I was just like, this is, so I went and I started picking up their mess or whatever, and so then I had filled my soda, and then I was, while I was doing that, of course, and it's my own fault as well. But I mean, like, if I just got in there, got my soda and left, I'd been fine. But instead, I decided, I'm going to take like 3-4 minutes and like, oh, look, somebody spilled some soda on this thing. I'll grab like this napkin here. I'll wipe that up and I'll throw it away.
Mhm.
And I got it all done. And of course, I get it all done. And I turn around to grab my soda and I hit it with the back of my hand, and it just flies and like pours all over my arm, down my leg, all over their floor. And then of course the guys working there is like, hey, thanks, bud. And I was just like, I was like, can you have a mop? I'll do this. He's like, no, I got it. I was just like, should have just walked away. Tried to do the right thing.
I came down to my desk the other day, 2 days ago, to find my pint glass that I have on my desk that I use for water, tumbled over, thankfully away from my computer.
Oh, damn cats.
And the floor was all wet.
Uh,
Yeah, so I just ordered on Amazon. I just ordered a riser for my computer to take it off my desk by about an inch.
Me and
hey,
Nudge be going to war over my tomato plants in here. He just keeps nipping at the leaves.
Oh yeah.
We be going to. I got a squirt bottle chasing him around. That and the carrots. I haven't moved the tomatoes outside yet, so I don't know if I can because he keeps eating the leaves.
We're doing a pizza party lunch on Friday for me and my guys, and we're gonna play some games. So I went and bought Geek Out 90s edition today, or 00 edition.
What is that one about? What was that game? I remember that game, but I can't
So it's
remember.
basically, this one's a little different than the other one. The other one was they just give you a subject and you have to list as many as you can of that thing. But this is more like the name that tune-ish kind of deal, where it's like they give you the minimum 2 DreamWorks pictures. I'm like, I can do 3. Lance is like, I can do 12. Whatever it is. And
you
like,
heard of the
okay,
game?
Lance, you got it.
Have you heard of the game Bye Felicia?
No, I haven't.
But it's similar. It's list games, right? So there's a subject, and it's like, I don't know, flavors of ice cream
Yeah.
or whatever. And you only have 30 seconds to write down as many as you can. And then each person goes around and you say one. And if you can't say one, or if someone already said yours, bye, Felicia, you're out.
Oh, it's like what we play with Lance sometimes.
Oh,
Kind of.
No, come on. No, you like the states
it's
thing that you did that
yeah, I
time.
know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or so yeah, what my point is, if we want to play that later, that might be fun.
Good.
This one.
Trying to think of
Oh, it's
You should get that top 10 game when it comes out, Matt.
Top 10.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I guess that's something we could do over the internet, right?
All the
top
questions
10.
are
I mean,
awesome.
and this is nothing to do with anything, but top 10 is though, and I think it's done now. I don't think they're making any more. But top 10 was a fabulous comic.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's so the idea behind it is that basically top 10 is like a precinct of police officers that have to police a world of everybody's a superhero. And so, and since everybody's got superpowers and like from like Galactus type superpowers down to like, oh, I can make things red if I touch them. You know, like everybody has powers, and they have to like police the area, and it's just it's kind of like done as a, and of course the police officers then have superpowers as well, and they're all, and it's done in like a procedural cop show type format. It was written by Alan Moore. I forget who the artist is.
Oh, of course.
What
has Alan Moore not written?
Yeah, but no. Yeah, top 10. I mean, if you are a fan of the comic books, it was just called top 10 because I think it was called like that was because they were the top the top 10 like I forget what it had something to do with the precincts, like the different police precincts, and so yeah, it was it's just, you know, and of course like it's also like buddy cop because there's the rookie cop, and she shows up and she's got all these like superpowers to deal with like these little robots and things that she creates, and then she gets, you know, paired up with like the like kind of your standard Superman-esque like but grizzled veteran cop, you know, and so they get paired up together. Like I said, definitely well worth the view, and if you can track it down, good stuff. Yep, Toy Box and Smacks. There you go, Paul Tompkins. You know, Toy Box was the girl, and Smacks was the grizzled cop or whatever. But it's good stuff. Yeah, and
good stuff.
Yeah, I got another one too that we're gonna play on Friday. It's just the expansion, but it's one of the monstrosity ones. So
monstrosity.
Oh, okay.
It's a robots one. It's just like, so I sent all my folks three or four cards that they can each describe, and we all have monitors that we can draw on, so our iPads or whatever. So it'll be nice and easy.
Cool.
We did it on Christian's thing on Monday night with him and Mike Giuliano. We did it with Dixit cards. That was interesting.
I haven't played it in a while, Dixit.
So try describing the acid trip of a Dixit card to somebody in 20 seconds to get them to draw it.
Hard.
Yeah, it was fun though. It was good. It was a nice little twist. I played Three Sisters on Sunday.
How'd you like that?
I liked it. It was a lot though.
Was it? About to learn?
Well, no, it was a lot to command over because there's like you have 2 pages of your roll in, right? There's like 2, and there's a lot of tick boxes. And you know, there are so many strategies that you could have for this game. Which I suppose is fine, but when you compare it to something like the clever games, they're a little more concise and
right,
and a little more straightforward. I enjoyed myself. but for the fact that the fella next to me, coincidentally also named Matt, it was at a pub game night, literally talked his turns out loud the whole game.
Yeah, that's too much.
And he would like I hope he's not watching. I don't think he is, but he would dig into his pocket and like pull
you're in
out,
trouble
like,
now.
he had these coffee bean seeds or something that he was using to keep track of all of the chains that he had. Like, oh yeah, I got 4 different waters. Okay, so I'm gonna use this one to do that, and he's like talking all this out. I'm just like, oh god.
So here, can I tell a story? And I didn't know if I was going to share this story or not, and I've been thinking, rolling around in my head, and I was like, this isn't so much a I don't even know how to describe this. This isn't even so much a a grievance type of thing. It was just a weird situation where, like, a younger me would have been more, like, I don't know, not devastated, but more affected by the situation. So I mentioned that the Memorial Day weekend thing. And so the guy that works at the university, he's not a professor. I should specify, he's like, no. He's in charge of most of their, anything to do with their computer network. Like
IT,
basically, but it isn't really IT either. I mean, it's tough to explain what he does. Really nice guy. He's a good guy. And kind of looks like me, actually. I mean, like, a bigger dude, big beard, just he's pretty laid back. When he invited me, he was just like, well, first of all, he said, you turn 50, so you get to be invited, because that was the whole thing. It's called geezer gamers. You have to be 50 or older to be invited. So, because it was just one of these things. And I was like, I didn't know it existed. And you're like, that's right, you didn't, because you weren't 50 yet. You turned 50, so you got invited.
So you're a geezer.
And so he said, and they even had a big sign on the door when geezer gamers only, that kind of thing. But anyway, so he said to me, just so you know, your Dan is going to be there. Now, what your Dan means is that of this group, there's this guy Dan, who they know this guy drives me right up the goddamn wall. I mean, he is a person that, like, when, like, he's the first person to correct somebody if they're not doing a game correctly. If he thinks that the choice you made was stupid, he's the first person to say, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you give him 6 victory points when you could have, gotten 4? And then, like, the person can explain, well, that's because I wanted to do that. And, just like because of whatever. And, like, he's the first person he's the person who berated me for 15 minutes during a game of Skull and Roses. Cause I told you the story about this guy. Like, basically I outwitted him. And then he said that you may have outwitted me, but your play was stupid. You shouldn't have done that. And then to the point where I finally said, dude, you need to stop talking to me. Okay. Because I don't want to hear another word out of your voice if it's directed towards me. And so they said, and I was like, you know what, that's fine. Whatever. I don't care. I said, isn't there going to be a lot of people there? He's like, yeah, there's going to be a few people there. And I was like, well, what do you mean, like a few, like 7, and I'm going to be stuck playing War of the Ring with this guy? Or, like, we just, no. He said, I know there's going to be, like, maybe 2 dozen people there at least at any given time. I said, cool, that's fine. So it was Friday and Saturday. I didn't show up on Friday because I had stuff going on. And on Saturday, I was just like, we had stuff going on at the house with the family. And I was just like, I don't know if I really want to go. I was just kind of hemming and hawing about it. And because all my family was home, and, like, my kids were done with school, so it was just kind of like the first weekend with the kids being done with school. And I was just like, all right, fine, I'll go. So I said, well, I had to go, and I had a couple errands to run anyway. And I was like, honey, I'm just going to go run a couple errands. I'm going to show up there. If it's interesting at all to go to and see, then, like, I'll stay. If not, I'll leave. She's like, okay, cool. So I go there, and it took a little while. Like I said, I had to park in a weird parking lot, and, like, it was like, and also this isn't a totally new feeling, but when you go into a big area, like a big building, and I don't know if any of you have ever been in, like, say, like a sports location. Like there's the place called the Fargo Dome that they have football at. I've been in there when like you realize you're like one of 7 people in a building that houses like you can cram 80,000 people in, and it feels weird to be in like a giant building and just being the only person there. And so I was kind of already getting that weird feeling, but I was like, so I kind of like, okay, it says it's over here, and I was kind of remembering how to get around the college. And I found the place, and I was like, okay, cool. And saw the sign, and I walk in, and like, the guy Shannon who was there running it, and my, a few of my buddies are like, hey, what's up? And I was like, hey, how's it going? And I got there just as the game was wrapping up, and I was just like, hey, okay, so what are you guys gonna play? Do you want to sit down and play? And they were like, oh, well, is there anything you don't want to do? And I said, well, I really don't want to get like, and I actually said this, I really don't want to get mired in like a 4-hour game of War of the Ring with Dan. Like, and like, and they kind of chuckled a little bit and everything like that. And then I kind of like looked over to my right and then I saw him. He was sitting like 6 feet away, and he was playing Dead Reckoning, that new AEG game with 3 other people. And like I didn't recognize him at first because I hadn't seen him in like a few years. I hadn't seen him. Last time I saw him was probably 6 months before COVID, so I haven't seen him. And I kind of glanced over and I realized, and then I didn't even really notice, and I kind of looked at the table, and then I looked over and I was like, wait a minute, that's Dan. Like he looked totally different. Like his hair had gone gray. And then the time I'd seen him, I hadn't seen him in 3-4 years, and I was just kind of like, huh. And then I was kind of like, and I know I said it loud enough for him to hear. And so I was like, I bet he heard me, but I wasn't like, I didn't, again, like I felt, okay, that whatever, screw it. I don't care. I was just like, because the last time I interacted with him was when I basically told him he needed to stop talking to me because he was really upsetting me. So I was like, I don't really feel the need to, I don't feel embarrassed. I don't feel weird about it at all. And so then we played our game, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go home real quick, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna go home, grab something to eat, and I'm gonna come back, and I'll play another game. And they're like, that's cool. And I'll said, give me like 30 minutes because everybody was kind of getting up to go get food or do whatever and come back. And so then one of the reasons why it was tough to get to the room I was in is because they were currently like there were large areas of the campus that were blocked off because for maintenance purposes. And they had big giant things up. It's like no entry admitted, possible asbestos exposure, things like that, because there was a bunch of older buildings. Okay. Yeah, and so I was like, huh. And I remember like what I knew in college how to get to something. I went in this one room. I was like, I know I can go in this way and I can go down these few paths, and then I'll be right in this spot where all these big giant rooms are, these conference/meeting rooms where they're going to have this thing. And when I tried to take that path, it ended up actually like making me go outside because I couldn't go any further because they had blocked everything off, because with these things, I was like, oh, well, that's dumb, so I ended up having to leave and go outside and go all the way around the building anyway. And so when I left, I knew that I had to go a certain direction. So I got up and I left, and so I went a different way, and I was walking. And so then as I'm walking down this sidewalk, like basically between this concourse, basically between these two larger buildings, I see this guy, Dan, and he's walking directly towards me. And I'm like, all right, well, I doubt he's going to say anything. I'll just keep walking. I don't care. And he realizes that he's going to cross paths with me. And I don't know if he thought I was going to like either confront him, apologize, do whatever. All of a sudden, it was like one of those things where it's like he did this kind of snap gesture like that, like, oh my gosh, I need to go do something. And he took a left and he walked into this building, and like he went over and he opened up this thing. And I knew from where I got before that he's going to open that door. He's going to go about 6 feet, and there's going to be nothing but these big giant barriers that say you can't go any further because of the fact that we're doing all this construction. And I kind of giggled a little bit at the thought of that. And then I was like, okay, well, I bet he's going to come out. And then so I kept walking and I kept walking. And then I kind of just slowed down to see if he was going to come out. No, but I saw him just kind of standing in the entry of this thing, waiting for me to leave. And then at that point, I felt kind of bad. I feel kind of bad because like he must have thought that I was going to like say something to him or be rude to him or say something mean. And I guess I felt bad at that. But it was an interesting situation. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have said what I said. And I probably wouldn't have said what I said if I'd realized he was there. But I don't know. Karma will come back and get me for that one, I'm sure.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, I mean,
In the
but-
school
feel
lane
like
next
you
year,
did
and we'll
not
hear all about it.
Handled it correctly.
No, I didn't really feel bad about it at all. I felt this twinge of like, maybe I should have just been the bigger person, or maybe I should have looked around the room and realized that, but then again, the guys just kind of, and everybody knows, they even know, they're like, your Dan will be there. I've had that told to me repeatedly. And they're like, yeah, your Dan will be there. And then when I get invited over to people's houses, don't worry, your Dan won't be there. Because there's a second Dan. There's a second Dan that's really nice. But they just refuse. They just refer to him as your Dan. I don't know. It was a weird situation. But now it's over. So, but I probably won't ever see the guy again. So that being said, I did come to the realization that I'm definitely not. I'm definitely gonna do Gathering of the Vikings next year. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen because I talked to the guy that has the venue, and he's basically said, yeah, I mean, just he's like, nobody ever uses this for weddings in February or in January. So figure out
it's too cold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's because everybody's
No
inside
person
their
will ever
house.
have a wedding.
It's gonna happen. Plus the area, the spot that he's got, it's got a kitchenette, it's got a beer tap, it's got everything that we need to like just hunker down and play. So that in general, I'm sure that guy has his own podcast where he bitches about that asshole Lance on his grievance.
Your Lance is going to be there, Dan.
Maybe he will. And you know what? Maybe I'm sure I'll say this. I did have a weird situation there where like when I came back after I grabbed my food, I came back and they had already, like, it ended up taking me longer than I thought. And it was a really, really weird situation. And I felt, and this is another thing why I was probably just in a grumpy mood that day, but I came back and they were all playing a game. I forget what it was. But it was a quick one game. God, what was it? It was a quick game that game the last half hour, 45 minutes. And they had just started it up knowing. So I got back, and this is just the people that I was playing games with, and that I just paired off with, and like every like there was a table next to the table they were playing, and the table next to them was still that Dead Reckoning game, but there was a different Dead Reckoning game. It was other people are playing. The Dan guy wasn't there, and I came back, and then there were like three people sitting at the table, and there was a fourth chair that nobody was sitting in. There was no stuff near it. There was no cards or anything in front of the spot or anything like that. So I just, not to sit at their table, and I just grabbed that chair because it was close by. And I walked over, and those people were totally engrossed in their game. They kind of looked up and saw me like, hey, how's it going? I was like, hey. And I picked up the chair, and I waved to them. They're all like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Took the chair, sat it down next to over the table to kind of watch them play the game, sit on my phone, just wait for them to get done. Because I just wanted to chill for a little bit. And literally like a good 15 minutes goes by. Like it isn't like 30 seconds later, like 15 minutes or so goes by. And this woman comes in, and I'd seen her in the room before, and she came up and she's standing next to the table, and she said, what happened to my chair? Now, mind you, there's a second chair right next to the one that was empty, right next to the one that I took. And she said, what happened to my chair? And I kind of stood up and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize this was being used. And then I brought the chair over to her table, and like, honest mistake or whatever. I mean, and then I wasn't even really processing it. And I here you go. And I bring the chair over so she can sit down again. And she's like, that was very rude of you. And I was like, oh, well, I'm sorry. And she's like, who just takes somebody's chair without asking? And I was like, I'm sorry, and she's like, and she just gave me this like totally like angry librarian look, like looking down like her nose at me. And so then I took the other empty chair that was like the exact same chair. Like it wasn't anything. And like, it was
Now
like
you're
about
taking somebody else's chair,
about
Lance, you
about 3
scoundrel.
feet away from the one. And I was like, is anybody using this one? And they all said no. And I took the chair and I just brought it over and I put it down and I
Who
sat down.
says that though?
And I was like sitting there and I was just like, okay, fine. She's annoyed that I took the chair. Whatever. One, who doesn't come back to the table and the chair is sitting right there and you're like, oh, well, whatever. Just scooch that chair over and sit down. Two, when you go over to the table and everybody else at the table is sitting there and they're playing a game and they see me walk up and they all will say, hey, how's it going? Hey, how are you? I know who they are. We have like the standard 7 or 8 seconds of conversation about, oh, nice weather you're having, that kind of thing. And I take the chair and I bring it over. They obviously didn't think it was that big of a deal that I was taking the chair.
But
And then
she
plus,
did, Lance.
She was gone for like 15 minutes. These people were sitting. I thought they were still playing the game. They were sitting there waiting for her to come back. Where was she?
Wow.
They were
Who
playing.
delays a game for 15 minutes?
Gee,
Yeah,
I don't know. Anybody
who-
like that.
Someone has to go work a day job.
Never,
play the
yeah.
game or something.
Play a game and disappear
Ah.
for a half hour. I don't know anybody like that. I've had it happen to me, Aldi. Don't worry. I know your feeling. I know your pain.
You have such funny interactions, Lance.
Yeah, you do.
I'm glad I
just-
don't
I
live your
just-
life.
I was like,
I mean, you just
and
have.
then I sat, so I went back and I sat down. And there was like 5-10 minutes of them like finishing up their game or whatever. And I sat there and I was just flabbergasted. I was just sitting there. I was like, what just happened? I was just like, I wanted to walk over to her and say, look, you old bag. Yeah, I don't know what your problem is.
And that's the difference between Minnesota Nice and Philly. Philly would have.
Interactions like that. Interactions
been a
like
whole
that just
different
leave me
conversation.
stunned.
So what did you say, Matt?
Interactions like that just leave me stunned.
Dude,
I'm like, okay, and
I mean,
like, I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah, I've never had that interaction, so I don't know how to respond.
But like even just like awkward stuff like that, where people completely react disproportionately to what happened, to what the transgression was, if there
Yeah.
is any.
I see. So I mean,
I usually shrug it off.
I guess I took that person's chair, and I guess it's annoyance. But here, this is another true thing that happened many years ago.
True story.
Yeah, true story.
True
So,
story.
and this is
In
one where I
Fargo.
actually
I didn't see your name on this chair.
no, I actually got into a
That
fight.
would've been
part of the
I
flow of
actually got into a
conversation.
fight in a bar for saying that once. So we're not gonna, that's another story for another time.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can tell that one too. But
Actually, can we talk about Obi-Wan first?
Well, no. I'll say this.
Is it a short story?
This is
No.
relatively short.
Lance.
I was at so every year there's the Fargo Street Fair. Well, they haven't had it with COVID. Well, they had it last year, but so they'll have it again. So like Fargo Street Fair is just a fun. It basically they turn Broadway, which is this downtown strip of land. Yeah, it's a big wrong road, but there's basically in downtown Fargo, it's like 6 blocks, and from one end to the other, with a few offshoots, there's all of these. There's all of these like vendors. Just set up a tent. Hey, come and buy my handcrafted nameplates or whatever. So they make their stuff. Anyway, so I was there, and this is probably, I mean, my son was in a stroller, but he had to be like 3. So this is like 6-7 years ago. And so old enough to walk, but bring the stroller so you can push him because you can kind of keep, and then when he gets tired or whatever. And so I was sitting there, and and the thing is they shut down most of the cross traffic. But in like there's usually like one road that they actually have the cross traffic work, and they have people that are there with like not police, mind you. These are people that are working for the city that like basically have a whistle, and they are blocked to just basically say, hey, stop, we're letting the cars go through. Once there's like 3 or 4 cars waiting, nobody cross the street, let the cars go through for a while, then keep walking kind of thing. And I don't even think they do that anymore. I think they just shut them all down. You have to go all the way around before I get around now. But anyway, at this time, and I was just whatever. I was with my son, my daughter, my wife. We're off looking at something else, probably getting, I have no idea, kettle corn or something. And I was just pushing him, and I completely and totally my fault. I wasn't really paying attention. Like they probably somebody had probably blown a whistle, and I was continuing to walk into the street, because it's like, you basically have the entire street to walk. And I started walking, and I saw all of a sudden these cars are going. One of the cars stops because they see me, and I was like, oh my gosh, my bad, and I was like, I didn't hear the whistle, I didn't see the people, so I start backing up, pulling back up with my stroller, and this woman, I'm guessing in her 50s, and it's like I would have been in my early 40s. She comes, and she's got the orange vest on, she's got her whistle, and she's got her flag, and she comes running right up to me, and she's must have been a little over 5 feet tall, and just like, what is your problem? You have to be one of the stupidest people I've ever seen. Well, it's like, what are you thinking? Walking like across the street. And she's just, she's like all but poking me in the chest and like yelling at me. And people are like loud enough for everybody to like come over and look. And like, I can see she's just like shaking, angry. And I remember like in like 99% of those situations, I would have been very, very like, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, whatever. But for whatever reason, I don't know what it was. It was the public embarrassment, was it? But something like the old, like, put your fists up, like meet aggression with aggression me came up. And I said, I'm wrong, but there must be a world where you wouldn't be a total B. I didn't say B about the situation. So back off. And like, and she stopped. I remember she actually calmed down, and she said, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Could you please go back so we can let the cars go through? I was like, gladly. But I remember that was it's just like, but I remember just like 99% of the time, I just like, I'm sorry, you're right. And I walk away. Man, I don't know what it was about that lady, but I was just like, listen here, you old battle axe. Just take your cram it. But now, I don't know. Yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I haven't watched the 3rd episode yet. I'm gonna watch it.
It aired tonight, didn't it?
Yeah, it aired today. My son and I are gonna watch it tonight.
It's on Wednesdays now.
And I'm gonna say this is totally a non. I'm not gonna do any spoilers. I'm gonna say I'm enjoying.
I kind of want to spoil some stuff, but
I'm enjoying it. And
I don't. There's
can
one
I
thing
pick
I don't
apart
understand.
one thing? Can I pick apart one detail of the thing?
Okay, but did you see my Facebook post about picking apart stuff?
No. This has nothing to do with like the
Okay,
lore.
Go ahead. Pick. What are you gonna pick?
All right. If anybody's watching that doesn't want to hear anything about it, turn off now. Fair warning.
I'll do this when
you're done on all clear. Okay, we'll do an all clear when I come back. Okay.
But I'm not going to say any spoilers. I'm just going to say I'm enjoying it. That's it.
Okay. So there's a scene in the show where he goes and digs something up.
Uh-huh.
And he flashes it to the person. I don't know why. And I'm like, are you trying to not be caught? And this thing is huge. I mean, it's like this long, and it's on him. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? He just bitched the guy out for being too, out in the open. And then he himself puts on this thing and brazenly flashes it. Also, second, okay, well that's whatever. Like, okay, whatever. It's fun, right? It's part of it's cool because he gets his thing back. Yeah, spoiler warning. Sorry. Second thing, Leia's annoying AF. I don't like kids. I hate kids that are annoying in shows. I mean, it's not for me. It's for kids, right? It's a kid show. It's on Disney, for crap's sake.
How nice to see Jimmy Smits, though. I'm really enjoying seeing Jimmy.
Sure.
Smits.
Yeah,
that's fun. But Leia's terrible. Anyway,
I don't get why they can't catch a 10-year-old running.
Exactly. So there's, I mean, it's more like a bitch fest, honestly. Who's choreographing these things?
So okay. So here I'll say
the
this.
choreographing, like 3 large men with guns can't catch the girl that they're like, like they're doing these kind of like.
So here's a couple of weird things about this that have come to light about, and this will actually like clue back into Boba Fett and like the chase scenes in Boba Fett and stuff like that. So the big thing about that is that they're not shooting this stuff on location. They're shooting this stuff on sound stages and using computer to like,
Right.
So it is
totally
very difficult to do a chase scene.
Yes, in a small room.
Right.
If you're in a 25 by 25 foot room, and you have basically like, you have 400 square feet of room that you're using for you can't have somebody race from one side to the other.
Yeah. There's no.
So
but it's so obvious that it's not.
There's an easy solution to that.
It's like those things where in the cartoons when they go to grab somebody and the person like ducks underneath them, like you get to the air and like it's so goofy.
There's
Anyway,
an easy solution to that. Don't do the chase scene. If it doesn't work,
just capture it with a net. Done. First, like just don't let her run away and do all the. Also, she should have been using she knows the forest. She's running on the path.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
All right. And
one more. Wait. No.
Oh, wait. No.
One more.
Sorry.
Flea has old knees. Yes. Did Flea die?
I believe so.
Didn't they show someone's hand getting chopped off and they didn't show Flea die? Okay, whatever. Anyway.
Maybe, I don't know.
Also,
I love that Flea was in it though.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And that was totally I just want to be in Star Wars. That was a Flea. I just, he grew up watching it, loved it, and wants.
He's a good actor though.
All right. Another problem.
Another problem. Here we go.
The Inquisitor, the third sister, has the ability to read someone's mind, apparently, right?
Well, force powers. They've shown it before.
Why did she not do that to Uncle Owen in the courtyard? She just walks up to him and is like,
So there's going to be plot.
She read the mind of the guy who was trying to. It was,
Did she read his mind, or was it more like he's hiding
his
something?
mind? She read his mind, or
Who knows?
didn't she do like a little whatever? Okay, one more problem.
My mind. To your
One
mind.
more, just one.
And then I'll get it out of my system. There, you know how they said we need to change our clothes immediately?
Yeah.
Right? We need to change our clothes to get disguised. He's wearing the same thing that he wore, except it's more brown.
Yeah.
And like more Jedi looking.
So
all right, that's it. Time
okay. And so this was what I said. It was just like, with like a lot of people are like, but on this thing and this thing, he did this, and then this thing and this thing, Obi-Wan did this, and then you kind of go through this whole thing. Like I said, if you have like hundreds of hours of video and streaming and movies or whatever of a character and thousands of printed words, like in thousands of pages, and of which a lot of it is canon, and you're going to find discrepancies. There's nothing you can do about that.
It's just
and you just kind of have to let it go. You just have to let it go.
It's just a couple stupid production things.
But this goes back to what I said last week, and you weren't here for, Scott. Star Wars has just become another TV show. It's not the icon.
Yeah, for sure.
That it was.
And honestly, I never really expected anything.
Well, no, and I've seen people post things like they just need to do remakes for 4, 5, and 6 at this point. I'm like, you're an idiot. Go away. It's like,
what would they remake?
Yeah,
to fix the Obi-Wan is turning into Ben Kenobi. It's got the same last name, but he was hiding.
Well, yeah, and like
I
mean, for the whole thing. Why is his name Skywalker? Blah blah blah. It's like, well, for all we know, there's like it's same as Smith. I mean, it's just like there's thousands of Skywalkers out there for all we know. I mean,
no, there's only one.
Oh, there's only one. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a fine show. I mean, I was a little. I don't remember owning any droids. Obi-Wan says that. Doesn't he say that in the movie? I don't recall owning any over. I don't know.
Well, no, but that's but you got to remember also. I mean, I don't want to sit here and make excuses for this bullshit because I don't think I should have to. But
I don't care.
Like,
about
but here's one of the things. It's like what I told you was the truth from a certain point of view. You know, I mean, like, well, you effing liar.
Yeah.
You double talking lawyer piece of crap. Just like so. I mean, I don't remember owning a droid. Well, technically, was R2D2 was like. Was the droid of Organa's, right? And Anakin Skywalker, created C3PO.
Well,
so he didn't own any of
it. What has C3PO has not shown up in the show yet, has he? I
No,
mean, I think
because that's because
I think I saw him for like 1 minute up on Alderaan.
Yeah. I'll say this. The Lego, the Skywalker Saga Lego video game is
awesome.
It's awesome and it's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
Like all of the little jokes.
I love the fact when Leia's handing out the medals for the blowing up the Death Star, and Chewbacca's like trying to get one, and she's like,
yeah. Or they even like at the very first, in that one, the New Hope thing at the very beginning, it shows like totally not R2D2 and not C3PO walking down the hallway, and then the big giant chunk falls on top of them and destroys them, and then R2D2 and C3PO come around the corner.
Yes. There's some good stuff in there too.
Oh no, it is
the cutscenes are the best.
There's parts of the game that I don't like. The whole did you collect all of the little pieces? Oh, you didn't get the unlock. Just like I hate that because it preys upon my 100% completion need.
I just let it go.
Yeah.
So I forget which game I played, but I went back and played like a lot of the characters unlocked. I think it was the Harry Potter game.
Yeah.
There's I went back and unlocked it. Oh no, Indiana Jones.
Plus depending upon
Plus,
depending upon the characters that you go back and play in like free play, because you can go back and play a level in free play to unlock the stuff. Like depending upon the characters you select, they have funny interactions. Like if you take like Boba Fett and Jango Fett, and like they have this moment where like it's like, wow, cool armor. Hey, you got cool armor too. Just like stuff like that. It's fun for them to just mess with it and stuff. Yeah, they definitely did take some time and make crack wise.
No, it's really well done.
So other shows.
There's a million secrets. Do your all clear now.
Yep.
Oh
yeah,
my all
clear.
I went to see a movie last night.
What you see, Matthew?
Saw Maverick.
I've heard nothing but positive things about that.
It was very entertaining. I did a little bit of YouTubing before I went and saw it. Apparently, in the first Top Gun, they did some filming in flight, but none of it made it to the screen.
Yeah.
What?
They did they filmed some of the flight sequences with the actors in the actual planes as they were flying, in flight, but none of that footage made it to the final cut. In this one, 100% of it is a very large chunk of it, if not all of it, is in flight. They even had this plane, they call it the camera jet or something like that. It's this black jet that has all these cameras. It's basically the cameraman is in this jet, and it was really good. And I went to go see it in this Cineplex here. They call it Screen X, where they have the two side walls get projected onto.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's new to me.
Never seen that before. Yeah, so it's
it was
peripheral
neat.
vision.
So we have IMAX, and here in at the Museum of Civilization, they had this thing called OmniMax, which is this. If you look at this film cell, it looks like a little dome instead of like a square. So the actual part of the thing that gets projected is this dome-shaped thing because it's a rounded screen that curves around on the sides.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what that reminded me of, this experience. But the first couple of times I'm like watching the sidewalls, I'm like, no, it's just for peripheral vision. Watch
it messed me up. I saw a movie, I forget which one it was, but it did the same thing. Like none of the stuff on the side is really dependent on the movie. It's all just nonsense. It's just stimulation, basically.
Miles Teller, man, that kid is
he's a good actor. He is.
I haven't seen Whiplash, and I really want to see that now.
Yeah, he was good in that.
Yeah, well, him and J.K. Simmons are both in it, and
Yes.
I like both of them a lot. But this was really good. Tom Cruise, man, that guy is
ageless.
That guy's they broke the mold with that guy. He's just, I think he's one of the last, what I would call movie stars.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Like the
So
Clark Gable kind of genre or caliber, I should say. You have actors, you have popular actors and everything now, but he embodies what I would think is a movie star. Forget all the Scientology crap, but
so he kills himself doing a stunt. Yeah.
Right? Him and Jackie Chan, man.
Yeah, I saw Maverick too. It was a good movie. It was sort of like a retelling of the first one with some extra stuff at the end. But it was a good movie.
I saw a meme that compared it to A New Hope.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, totally, right?
Yeah.
So it was as soon as I saw that one part in the movie, I'm like, I started chuckling to myself. I actually had to shush the people next to me.
Yeah,
whatever. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'll see it when it comes out. I mean, I want to see the big screen, but I really don't want to go theater.
Yeah.
We wore a mask the whole time at BGG Con, by the way. But no, very, very few people, let's wear masks. And everywhere we went, no masks. So I mean, masks are done in Dallas.
They've been done for months here, Scott. I mean,
they finally lifted it here for everywhere. So yeah, no, the people next to me was funny. They were talking through all the trailers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I was about to say something. I'm like, Matt, they're just trailers. Calm the fuck down. Don't be anal. If they keep talking when the movie starts, then say something. And sure enough, they kept talking like full conversation, not like it was like these like they were talking over the audio for the movie so they could hear each other. And I kind of said, "Can you keep your voices down, please?" And luckily, it was not a Lance caliber situation.
You just shattered my whole image of Canada there, man.
Oh,
because people were talking too loud.
Yeah, the movie theater.
2 girls got ejected too, and I'm not sure why. The usher came running, ripping in across me, and then went up the aisle and dragged these 2 ladies out. I'm like, what the hell? I was a little miffed. For some reason, I had it in my mind that when I booked it online, the screen was always at the bottom of the diagram that you select. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to select something closer to the top of this because it's a small theater.
Oh, you got reversed.
So I wasn't too close. They had those 3 super close rows, and then there's like the walking aisle at the bottom of the 2 aisles that go up, which is like the same as the barrier free aisle with all the wheelchair spots. So that's the row I was in. It was all right, a little closer than I liked, but it was all right. Yeah, really liked that movie. It was good. I mean, it was great. It was nice to see Val Kilmer in it.
Yeah.
Like,
it was.
Don't talk. I mean,
he's going to be in Val Kilmer's going to be in Willow as well.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. No, he is, because I saw something today where Richard Kasdan, is that his name? The guy that does the director or whatever. Anyways, as soon as he and what's the guy that plays Willow's name?
Oh,
Anyways, as soon as they got the green light for the project, their first call was to Val Kilmer,
yeah.
supposedly.
All I know is if a giant snowball doesn't roll down a hill and smash some bad guys, I'll be very disappointed.
Come on. I want Kevin Pollak in it.
It
playing
could
the little
happen. Maybe.
Well, that was
Really?
that was the best moment in the first Willow. Giant
It was-
snowball.
Yeah.
Or what the hell was that guy's name? Warwick
Davis.
Davis. Yeah.
Yeah. Professor Flitwick, I think.
And what, Harry Potter?
Yes, I believe that is accurate.
Pardon me?
I thought Val Kilmer couldn't speak.
He
can. He sort
So
of.
for Top Gun, they used his son's voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
So dubbed over.
Yeah. Apparently he sounds tremendously like him. And
yeah.
I bought it.
That's all.
He looks a lot like him too.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith. Val Kilmer played in Kevin Smith's last movie, and he was saying he can kind of talk. He's got this tracheotomy type thing going on. And this was a few years ago. It was before the pandemic. But
Was that Walrus?
no, it was Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, was he in that?
Yeah. But they were doing it on a phone, text messages. That was how they bypassed it then.
Yeah. I don't know. I think my favorite Val Kilmer movie is Real Genius.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. I love Real Genius.
I still like Tombstone.
I love that movie.
Tombstone's pretty good, yeah.
Be Your Huckleberry.
I'm your Huckleberry.
There was that other one.
I bought an indulgence off of Amazon recently.
What was that?
I bought an extravagance. I bought a wrist rest for my keyboard, a walnut wrist rest.
It looks solid.
A walnut.
It is.
I'm curious. How much did they charge you for that?
$26.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Really? Okay.
But it has rubber feet on the bottom, so they
Oh,
have to be
yeah.
at least 15 of that 26.
Nah. Oh hell, the walnut might be 15, 26 the way it is now. But seriously,
American dollars, it was probably $20.
Mm.
So
I was talking to a neighbor. Like I can't. She was asking me to make something for her, and I just can't see it. Like it's a board to me. It's
yeah.
but. And she was showing me the prices of this, what other people are charging me. I can't, yeah.
I got my desktop made and I love it. It's beautiful. It's like reclaimed barn board, but I didn't quite think it through very well.
Yeah.
Because being reclaimed barn board and wanting to retain the patina or whatever the aging on the outside of the board, you can't plane it, right?
No.
So my desk is not 100% level. So I have a little bit of in my keyboard.
Yeah.
And I had to I have a graduated several sheets of paper that are cut at different lengths to fill a gap underneath my desk mat so my mouse doesn't completely go off road.
Yeah.
That said, I'm very happy with it. It's awesome.
What do you mean, the color or just that rough look by Bettina?
I'll show you.
What?
Oh, you're looking for the saw marks and all. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you
I love
can't.
it. It's great. I got a local guy to make it for me.
You could go over it with a thin coat of epoxy and flatten that all out. Yeah.
I could. It's already 2 inches, 2+ inches thick.
Oh, that's nice and heavy.
My little foot hammock doesn't actually fit. It's too thick.
Oh,
What is it? It's 56 millimeters, so it's just over 2 inches.
funny measurements.
I would measure that distance in inches, but my caliper is set to millimeters.
I go back and forth when I when I
too,
work.
totally.
Yeah.
If I'm working, it's all millimeters. If I'm saying like, oh, this mug here, oh, it's what, 3.5 inches tall. I wouldn't say, oh, it's got to be 85 millimeters tall.
Yeah, I wonder why America never went with the metric system totally. Like I know he tried back in the 60s.
You guys want to do
70s.
everything the hard way.
Yeah, he's just weird.
Well, we aren't the only country. There's like 3.
Yeah.
Out of how many?
50. How
7.
many is it? 100? I don't even know how many countries there are in the world, to be honest with you.
Just all you have to do is play the Animaniacs song.
I mean, the biggest thing is just, I mean, what I've ever read is it's just the time and money that it would take to convert everything over.
Yeah.
It isn't
That's
worth
true.
it. And then tying into that is the fact that since we are still like the #1 economy in the world,
Yeah.
like we can still force people to oh, well, you don't want to work with, well, if you want to work with us, you got to use these old systems.
Yeah.
And if we ever get to a point where people are like, yeah, I don't want to use that system anymore, then we might be a problem. But it's just
nothing in engineering uses that system.
Yeah, depending on building.
Oh, buildings maybe.
Yeah, mechanical and all that now.
It's funny though.
Well, the problem is that, I mean, it's just like to convert everything, like, I mean, like all of the, technical drawings and know-hows and everything like that, to convert them all over. It's just, it's that giant rotting tree in the forest that if it falls over, it's going to end up like smashing so many other trees that you just can't. Like there's always going to be somebody over there that's going to run up and take a 2x4 to prop the tree up even longer. Notice I use 2x4.
Or 1.5 by 3.5.
Yeah, exactly. But the 1.5 inches by 3 inches.
Do you know why that is?
If you think about it, why is that?
Back in the day, they were actual 2x4s.
Yeah.
Because of the way they cut it. It's all milling process now. So they could get the most lumber out of the tree.
Yeah.
That they possibly can.
Everything is smaller for more expensive.
Because of shrinkage, but you're not shrinking a 1/2 inch. Yeah.
That's what she said.
It's funny though, if you think about it, right? Like there's the metric system, and when people are working in these applications now or whatever, and if they're still working in inches, they're working in decimal inches. Not 3 5/8, 3 4/16 or whatever, or I guess that would be a quarter. But it's just kind of, so they're almost like halfway there.
Depending on the field.
I want to share this with the world. Look at that young Barry in that picture from Origins 2016.
6 years ago.
Look at that. Look at the young Kevin Burkhartsmeyer in there. And notice they're playing Yokohama.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was that you were
Barry's
drinking
got a mason jar full of piss.
No, he was drinking a Perry cider. I remember he.
I'm kidding. I know.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I remember because we both got it. That was that weird little gamer bar.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then
down in the basement, it was kind of shady.
And I remember, and I remember they asked me, they told me I had to pay to rent the game that I picked, and then they were like blown away by the fact that I brought my own game. I was like, yeah, no, this is my own copy of Yokohama. Sorry. This is like, there's like 500 copies of this that have been made so far, because that was my Japanese copy. Anyway, look at that.
I think that was the last con I was at.
They had good food. I remember we got food there too. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it does look like you were in like the basement of some school by the blocks in the background. But yeah, look at that young tan Kevin Burkhartsmeyer.
Yeah, who's going to Origins? Anybody?
No.
I'm going.
Oh, you showed my picture.
It shows your picture.
I saw
Oh.
a quick picture that I posted
Well, that's because
of the Kraken.
the
The
Kraken.
Kraken.
That was a picture that my picture I posted was in our super secret.
I know, but I
Alaboom
saw
group.
the picture I posted too.
I was so brief. You couldn't
Screen
share.
share.
Um.
Where?
No. Oh, hey.
Hey,
By the way,
what?
the Glasscock is still there.
Hey. We're the monkeys. No, the Glasscock.
I
That's
wouldn't
good.
imagine to go away.
But
unless
I
they
do
tell
Hotel
us.
has been
remember-
remodeled, by the way.
Oh, was it?
I do remember. My
So
daughter and I
Glasscock
watched.
still donates, huh?
Yeah, my daughter and I got through the first half of season 4 of Stranger Things. No spoilers. Not saying anything. My daughter and I have
Oh.
watched the whole series together so far, and we'll be excited to watch July 1st, the last 2 episodes or whatever.
Oh, that one is.
The only complaint that I don't get is that people are like, oh, the episodes are so long because each episode is over an hour. And I'm like, this is like the last stuff they're ever gonna do for Stranger Things. Bring it on the long episodes. I mean, I want to devour as much as possible. Thank you. You know, I mean, if you're only gonna do 7 episodes as the first half, and then the second half's only gonna be 2 episodes, which I'm gonna guess are gonna be over. They've got to be like an hour and a half at least each. And I think the last episode for season 7 or part 1 was like an hour and 35 minutes. It was a movie. And I was just like, this is awesome. Thank you. Give me more. Yeah, I want it to be yeah, I mean it's just like so I've been enjoying it and
I got in trouble over it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of them me and my wife watched together, but I just
No
forgot
spoilers.
we watched it together. So I started watching the first. I think I got the first 2 down, and then she noticed it was on. She started yelling,
Yeah.
"You didn't wait for me!" I'm like, "Okay, I'll wait for you." So now I'm waiting for her to catch up. So
Well, you can watch it with her. You know, you can.
I am.
rewatch
I'm just
those
waiting for her
episodes.
to do the first 2, so
Yeah.
we could continue.
So yeah, and I watched all of Bosch Legacy that they've released so far. Which
still haven't gotten it.
Watching Bosch Legacy is just more of the same.
I like
But and now Bosch gets to be more Bosch because Bosch isn't a cop anymore. He's a private detective, so he really gets to break the rules and bend
Son
them
of a
however
bitch.
he wants. Being Bosch.
I finished that. We Own This City. That was a good series.
I haven't seen that. I've heard good things. Though.
It finished. Yeah, it finally finished. So you got some time, that one dude. And then Ambulance. It was on Peacock, I think. Jen said it was on or something. It was a Michael Bay movie, which I kind of caught on with some of the camera angles. But it was pretty interesting. It was like a bank robbery heist with a kind of gruesome escape type deal. With Jake Gyllenhaal and what was the black guy's name? I seen him in quite a few things. I can't remember, but it was a good movie. If you're into that type of deal. I'm kind of glad to see they're pushing away from all the superhero shit in theaters.
Oh, it's still coming. What do you mean?
I know, but we're getting more different stuff.
Yeah.
From what Jen said, this is supposed to be out in theaters, but it was on Peacock at the same time for some reason.
Here's a weird question for you guys that I was just thinking about this the other day. Actually, I thought about like 2 days ago, and I thought about it a lot today. So, chicken strips, like just a piece of chicken meat with some breading on it, and no bones. Throw it in the fryer or whatever. You can get them dang near anywhere now. If you have an air fryer, you can crisp them up pretty good at home now. And you can go pretty much any restaurant you go to. It's an option. I know because I have a 10-year-old son, and it's like he's not as picky as his sister, but he can be picky. But I know if I go most places, he can get a chicken strip dinner, and he's happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing all of us here eat chicken strips. You go someplace, chicken strip basket, chicken strips and fries, whatever. When it comes to a sauce to put on your chicken strips, like what's your if you have it, I'll take it. But what's like the premium like sauce that you'd want on a chicken strip to make it like taste like the way you want it to?
It depends on the mood. I
I think
buffalo
I've
sauce.
moved past the chicken strip phase of my life.
All right,
I mean, it's been a long
Really?
time. Yeah. pretty much.
I gotta have to take you out for some chicken strips when you come to town. I'll bring the air fryer with me to the Gathering of Vikings. There'll just be a chicken strip station over there, and you can get you can dunk.
I guess I would try to eat buffalo sauce if it was like available.
I agree with that.
I don't like
Yeah.
barbecue. I don't like honey mustard. The honey mustard and barbecue and what else is there? Ranch? No, thank you.
Buffalo. There you go. See, that's like
Buffalo's the
I'll
one,
do a
you know.
buffalo, I guess.
Yeah,
And
like-
I'll do a whiskey sauce sometimes.
whiskey.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of Asian, but it has whiskey. It's sort of
Oh, like
a
Szechuan.
teriyaki type thing, but it's got
Teriyaki.
whiskey. Yeah. I do like the chili, the sweet
I like Tabasco.
and chili type deal too.
Oh, Tabasco's a good choice too. Do you guys have Raising Canes anywhere near you?
Yes.
No,
Right?
I have
You don't-
opinions.
You don't like Raising Canes?
I don't understand it at all. It has zero flavor and the sauce sucks. So I don't like, why are people going here? I don't get it. Like there's no spice. There's nothing to it. It's very, very plain to me.
So
Please come denominate your food.
the Hardee's Corporation, which if it isn't Hardee's, it's called something else in the area, depending on. There's two different types of restaurants, and they're both Hardee's, and I can't remember the other one. Can't remember the name. Where I'm located is Hardee's, and they have a pretty good chicken strip there too. But the one Hardee's that's kind of close to my house that I would go to on they for like 3 months they had spicy chicken strips. And I don't know what they had and it was like a dry rub they put on them. And it was so good. And then they just stopped having it and they never had it again. And I've even asked the guy, you're going to bring back the spicy chicken strips? They didn't sell well. So they're not going to do them again.
Please come in the dude. The world is becoming homogenized. I don't get it.
It is.
It's driving me nuts. I want to
Driving.
do something about it, but I don't know what to do.
Open a restaurant, Scott.
No, because I wouldn't be able to sell anything because nobody wants any flavor.
Ah,
You
nice.
can do one of them.
I mean, I'm
drive-by.
not kidding.
Yeah.
It's like the fact that Cane's is like you go drive by. There's a Cane's. It's not nearby here, but there was one at our old.
So you're not a caniac, is what you're saying.
He's
So
not a
they call him-
caniac.
Do they call them Caniacs? So there was a Cane's at our old neighborhood, and holy shit, the cars would go around the corner for that damn thing. I'm like, why? What is so exciting there? We should try it. Let's try it. Ordered 2 chicken strip dinners and the sauce. What's the sauce? Comeback sauce? I don't even know what it's called. Cane sauce? I don't know. It's awful. It's like 1,000 Island. It's like worse than 1,000 Island because I couldn't taste anything.
So Jen would love it. I can't keep
But
that.
they sell a shit out of them because I watch those cars, man.
I
They're
think
there.
I've had a gripe with chicken. Like I've noticed the last couple of years, like with chicken breast especially, you get a part that's like gummy. It's like a weird texture to it. Yeah, and I try it with different brands like the Tyson and the other ones, and yeah. So I haven't really been digging chicken breast lately.
Yeah.
A lot of thighs.
Well, I mean, the
and
last
stuff
time I
like
had a
that,
chicken,
wings.
like that, that food poisoning I had was from a hot chicken place in Dallas, which was hot. It was real hot.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't do that. That's just
And then
stupid.
I've regretted. I've not
Yeah.
gone back to any hot chicken places. I mean, not that I really went, but we would order.
Yeah, I don't
Not a single
get
one.
people like that.
I've been very bland lately. I've been,
Yeah.
trying to.
I like spice, but I don't
my,
like it to the point
limit
where
of calories per day. What's up?
I like spice in my food, but not to the point where it's like that, the hot chicken and all that. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of spice food or whatever, for the first time ever, I made my own salsa the other day.
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
What would you put in?
Salsa.
Well, I mean, tomatoes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You start with the tomato base and
Okay.
some
That's a good start.
Yeah, I
yes.
mean, put in some garlic. I put in some jalapenos.
Jalapenos?
A little
Fresh,
like
like fresh ones or the
yeah,
pepper
fresh
ones?
ones, fresh ones.
Okay.
Specials.
Chopped real fine.
And yeah, I just put it in, I made it in a blender.
Oh.
And
Oh, you lost
Onion,
that.
Well-
onion.
Mhm.
yeah, and a little bit of white onion and some just a small little dash of lime juice. And
I
I
like fresh salsa fresca. That sounds like a salsa fresca.
so
Yeah.
so here's the weird thing is that I had it and I was like, whatever. My wife really liked it. So then I was like, okay, well, cool. Well, if you like it, then fine. I don't know. I think I
Was it
need
hot?
more. It
Spicy?
had a little like just a little light burn to it. Like it wasn't just like this is hot and it sucks, right? And I was just kind of like, so it had a little light burn to it, and it wasn't horrible. I don't know. I think I didn't have enough tomatoes. I think that was my problem. I don't know. I mean, I just
What kind of tomatoes did you use?
Roma tomatoes.
Roma?
Maybe I need to
Is
use
that
a
typical
different-
for salsa ones? Those are those little ones that are like,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the parrot ones.
they're like little, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
maybe
know.
I'll try it again. I mean, I usually pay.
Yeah, they usually.
I make
Alton
pico de
Brown's
gallo
has
a
a
lot.
recipe. What's that?
I make pico de gallo a lot, and I've actually like my family
Yeah,
when I
I
make
love
it,
it. Yeah.
I make a ton, and then I like basically hand out big giant Cool Whip buckets to all like my mother and my dad and there's a few other people because I just but and that's like that's more involved and that's I've slowly figured out how to make a good pico de gallo, or as they say, or beak of the rooster as it's called.
I've been trying to eat those chips. That's a big thing I used to eat a lot of.
Yeah, I'm heavy on
Trying to get the
chips,
salt
too.
on those is like high.
Yeah.
I need to cut. I've been trying.
Well, and the big thing is
like
that's
I'll,
just so
I'll
that,
count
I
to
mean,
10, I
not
eat 10 chips.
well, that's not to sound super old, but it's that's just so much sugar. I mean, you don't realize it, but all the
Yeah.
carbs and everything you're eating.
Oh
on
yeah,
those
carbs
chips,
and salt. For sure.
it's just a ton. It's
Wish
just,
there was a replacement that would work. All I care about is getting the salsa to the mouth. But the chip.
I've
adds
had a few people
They've
tell
had
me
veggie
that
chips
they use pork rinds for it.
Yeah.
That
that's
Churro.
better.
it's the pork rinds. I mean, if
It's all
I mean,
protein.
it's all protein and fat. And pork rinds, there's no
Yeah.
carbs in them at all.
Different problems. Higher
Oh
calories.
yeah, I mean it's it's a different. The big thing is that like
I basically found that everything I eat was killing me. So I'm
Yes.
trying, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna not stop eating. I'm just gonna be like, whatever. Give me rice cake. Done.
what you should do
Scott,
is
a big thing is
All joy has been. So I used to live to eat.
yes.
I now have to eat to live.
That's how I am. Yes, I understand.
Sucks.
Hey, you
Really
get
does
used
suck.
to it.
so what I've learned and
Sure,
and-
but what's like whatever. Okay, I'm not gonna complain about it.
The big thing, Scott, I found is you got to start cooking yourself. That way you can control what goes into it.
well, it's not only that here, and I'll say this, and I'm not saying this to. I'm not ketoing again, but I'm definitely like monitoring my calorie intake. Right, I'm just trying to like make sure I'm not just. And the biggest thing for me is that I'm not like if I sit down to watch TV, I don't sit down with food. Like because that's the big thing. It's like I sit down and
That
I
was
got a
never
bag
a
of
thing for me,
chips.
but yeah, okay.
And the other, I'm
Yeah,
not talking about
whatever.
you. So the
No,
big
no,
thing
I'm
is that like I only eat noon through it. Like I'll only eat then, and it's just like and I give my body a chance to not have anything in its stomach. So when I'm sleeping and everything like that, like I'm not. There's nothing there for my body to consume or whatever. So if there's something, and the thing is, and I'm not saying this to brag or anything like that, but just by doing that and like just kind of monitoring what I eat instead of eating like 8 pieces of pizza, it's like eat 2, drink some water, go sit down. If I'm still hungry, then I'll go have another piece, something like that. I've dropped like 40 pounds, and it's just kind of like, and it sucks because I definitely have this feeling of like, oh, well, wouldn't it be nice to go and grab a big giant ice cream cone, and the thing is that, but if you just keep yourself from like only eating from noon to late and you don't eat outside of that, like it actually like, you'll plateau still, but like you can still go out and have an ice cream cone. Like today, the ice cream van drove by the house, and the kids heard the noise. And so we went out and we were watching the 7th episode of Stranger Things, and like we went out and I got myself a Twix ice cream cookie bar, which was really tasty.
How many calories are this?
I don't know, probably
7,000.
No, I think I read the
900.
thing. I think it said like 350. Which
No way.
for 2000
Nothing's 350. That's worth eating. Anyway, whatever.
What are you talking about? There's tons of things that are like 350. The big, diet soda is the big thing too. Making sure you're not sucking down a bunch of extra calories when you drink thing.
Oh,
You
I
know,
quit drinking Coke a long time ago.
doesn't that suck? Yeah.
Every
Going,
little bit sucks. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Then you die.
a Twix ice cream
Fine.
bar has 160 calories.
There's no way a Twix ice cream bar.
I
has
just
that.
looked it up.
Bullshit.
It's not
4
real.
ounces. I mean, look up
It's-
something that has like 16 ounces or 12
It's
ounces.
real, not real ice cream, Scott. It's possible.
No, I just looked it up.
I do not believe that in any way.
Well, okay. I mean, then I guess the
How
fine
big
folks
are
at
they?
the fine folks at Twix are lying to us or whatever.
That could be. You never know.
No, you're looking up something that's like 3 ounces or 2 ounces.
It said 24 grams.
24 grams is nothing.
Not, it's not an ounce. 28 grams is an ounce.
24 grams in ounces. Hold on, let me
I'm
convert.
just
Tell
telling you what I
it's not
had.
an ounce.
0.84 ounces.
Yes, I know. Weed. 28 grams.
Whatever.
is
I
an
don't
ounce.
know. It's fine.
Scott, it sucks right now. It really does. But your body's going to adjust. You'll get used to it, and you'll
Sure.
find you can eat.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, it'll get better, man. It's still what 2 months in, 3 months in. Since you've been in a hospital, I can keep trying.
When I got out of the hospital, it's been like a month and a half.
All right,
All right, here. I'll show you.
It'll
some-
get better, buddy.
Well, I'm going to share my moment of joy here.
And like I said, move, asshole, move. That's the best thing you can do for your body.
so
Then
here,
you can eat whatever you
I'm
want.
gonna- I'm
You
gonna-
burn enough calories.
so that's my 10-year-old son, and he's testing for his brown belt. The girl in green over there, that's my daughter, and
Either he's tall or they're very short.
he's a pretty tall kid, and Mr. Taylor, the guy on the left, he's crouched down, but
Yeah, I can see. that, yeah.
Master Roy, the 8th Dan black belt, the guy who runs it in the black, he is he's about 5'7", 5'8", guessing. And this is my son. So, and this break has been bothering me. He's got to break both boards. I do appreciate his little samurai haircut that he's got going on. The kid back there is in a D&D group that I'm in. Anyway, that's my son.
That's what you need for a brown belt.
Well, there's a lot more to it.
Oh, okay.
He had a full pattern that he had to do that that takes about 2 minutes to go through the whole thing, and every single kick and hand movement has to be absolutely precise, and that took him a long time to get down. And then there's the 1-step, 2-step techniques, which are it's tough to explain, but basically it's combat techniques. So an instructor will say 2-step technique, and then he'll throw a punch, and then Caleb's got to do 3 moves, block a move, do 3 moves, do a throw, and it's a long process. But yeah, it's no, I mean, that was a proud dad moment. Proud dad. He's 2 steps away from his black belt now. His sister's 1 step away. So
Black belt?
Yeah.
How old?
10.
There's no. Come on. Black belt?
Yeah.
I
My
thought
daughter's
that was like a
14.
lifetime to get
My
black-
daughter's
a
14.
black belt.
She'll be testing. My daughter's
There's
14.
different
She'll be
levels of
testing
black
for
belts.
her.
Yeah.
Well, it's a junior black belt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still. I mean,
They should still kick my ass.
I mean, when
Oh, yeah.
one of my daughter
You'll like
tests.
flee in the forest.
One of the
Yeah,
things you have to
You're just
do.
gonna duck between their knees and
Yeah.
get through. Like,
No, when my daughter will test for her black belt, one of the things that she has to do is you have to run, and then you have to
10 miles?
you have to leap over. There's 6 people that'll be crouched down like on their hands and knees. She has to leap over 6 people and then kick a board and like basically break a board that's being held like 8 feet above like the ground, basically. So you have to, and then there's like it's crazy.
Nice.
Sounds
crazy.
And the thing is, I watch them do some of the stuff that they do, and I'm like, my back would be like, my back hurting.
My
But
back, my spleen.
yeah, no.
Spleen.
The
What
one of
does his
the
spleen do?
the kid Drew in the backer there, like he's played in Ryland's D&D groups and stuff. He's a second or third level junior black belt, and he's like 12. He's like 13. I think he just turned 13. I was watching him do one of his tests where he had to like basically run, and he has to jump and do a 360 spin and kick a board that's being held like 6-7 feet above the ground and like has to break it with his, and he's just breaking it over and over again. I'm just like, how just like, but yeah, I mean they're you just you repetition, muscle memory, and it's crazy stuff. I don't know.
Crazy.
It's good exercise too. I mean, they both of them were kind of chunky little kids until they got into Taekwondo, and now they're skinny. And my son is freaking strong, like ridiculously strong. Like, I mean, admittedly he's 10, so I mean he doesn't have a lot of weight, but like he just like, one of the things that he had to do is he had to do 30 push-ups in 20 seconds to test for Brown, and he just rattles them off like they're nothing, just like, and as Master Roy says, smile while you do them. So he sits there and just looks up and smiles at Master Roy, and he's like, go, and it's like, you mean just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, he's just, I'm like, good Lord, I do like 5 push-ups and I want to die. Just like, but
I remember being that age. You did all that. Do you, Scott, growing up, do you remember being in all this? Like, I was talking to a neighbor and they were saying their 4-year-old or 5-year-old is in swim class, and this one, the son's in football.
Oh, that's
and all
helicopter parenting. I don't know. I was not. No,
Yeah,
my parents didn't do shit for me.
That's how I
mean,
remember.
I'm sure
Like,
they
I
did
was on
stuff
my
like
own.
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember it being in anything. Like, no one took me anywhere.
Yeah,
I'm not it didn't happen.
can
I was on my own every day.
yeah.
I don't. Let me air a grievance, because this is something that I absolutely detest this, and it bothers me, and it bothers me, and it bothers me, and like, and I know it happens, and I even know that, like, it's just when you get a tracking number from something that you've ordered, and you're excited to get your item, and you go check the tracking number, because like, and it's like, it's always like, this track, like the label has been created response. It's just like, and
But
then
it
you're
hasn't
like,
been entered into the system
okay, I got the email at 9:30 p.m. this
Yeah, you're
evening.
like,
They just packaged it up. It'll populate tomorrow with FedEx or with
No,
UPS,
that's not true.
whatever.
Only when they put it into the system.
Well,
You
no,
can
no.
put a label like
I'll get my information. So you check in the morning, the next morning, and it's like 10 a.m. and it's still the same. Okay, fine. The FedEx hasn't been to the store, that place yet, hasn't picked up the items. I get it. So then you just put it on your mind. Maybe you check again at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, still up. You put it on your mind. You sit down to do a little bit of more work around 8 or 9 p.m. that evening. You pull it up. It's still sitting. It's like,
It's
why?
they haven't put it into the system. They have not.
Yeah.
They have not giving it to somebody.
You're just like, why do that? Why
the thing
send
that
me an
drives me
email?
insane is like, so I'll get these Amazon things. It'll say expect delivery by 10 p.m. today. 10 p.m. rolls around. Expect delivery by 10 p.m. tomorrow. It just immediately changes. It says no. There's no apologies. It's just boom. Tomorrow.
Oh, and just I should.
I mean, whatever. We live in the future. Whatever. I shouldn't complain.
Yeah, I know.
I can order a. I don't know what's a random thing I ordered. Oh, I ordered a huge thing of Cascade pellets that you put in the the dishwasher. Came in a day.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, whatever. One day, it just appeared the next day.
So, and I should. It goes. We should mention that there won't. I'm not bringing my laptop with me to Origins, so there won't be an Alaboom next week. So,
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God.
Thinking about buying one of those portable monitors for when I go to Gen Con, so I could have like 2 monitors, my laptop and an extra one.
I've got one. They're pretty good.
What a world you
They're
live
like
in.
it's just like an iPad almost.
Yeah.
Just a monitor. Yeah.
No, in response, like when I was a kid, I was in all kinds of stuff. I was, I was in both sports stuff.
Being in anything.
I was in sports stuff and geeky stuff. I did
no band, no.
Well, I mean, band wasn't really anything. Wasn't extracurricular. That was a class in school. But I mean, I was. I took piano lessons for a while. I was in football.
Did your parents drive you everywhere around the world?
Yeah, or I rode bike. I mean, there was a lot of times I rode bike to the school. But I was in football. I was in basketball. I was in baseball. Of those 3, the only one I really liked was baseball. I mean, like and the thing was, it was like for baseball, it was like for basketball, the coach, the guy he was a turd. I didn't like him, mostly because his son that played in the team was a kid that always like made fun of me for like bringing Dungeons and Dragons books to school. So I didn't like him very much. So I didn't like his dad then. And then I didn't, and then football, it was like one of those things where it was like, I don't know why I even wouldn't. I just figured why I should do football. And I did it for one season. And I just didn't like it. And when I got to do it again, I just didn't want to go again. And theoretically, like when I decided not to do it, the coach called my parents' house and asked why I wasn't doing it. So I guess I must have been good at it or something. I don't know. Or they just needed a warm body or something. But then I was in like Science Olympiad. I was in the aquarium club. I was in the chess club.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I was.
Your parents just wanted to get rid of your ass.
Yeah, no, there was just a lot of it was just stuff that was after school, right? So you get done and then you just go to like for the aquarium club, it was like every Thursday you just went and you went up and because like there was a teacher there that had all these 29-gallon aquariums and you got to pick your own and then you got like 4 or 5 fish or whatever and you just took care of your aquarium. And so like after school on Thursdays everybody would go up there and it was just a reason to screw around. But I mean, one of the things you did was you vacuumed the gravel and you changed the filters and Mr. Potchek, the guy who ran it, the science teacher, he fed your fish every day, for you, so you didn't have to worry about it. But that was fun. And
I did beavers, which is
beaver.
Oh yeah, go on.
So it's like what's before Scouts for you guys?
Oh, I don't.
Like
Cub
Scouts? It's just Cub Scouts then Boy Scouts. I was in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts.
Oh, so I guess it's our Cub Scouts.
Well, Weebelow was the final step of the Cub Scouts because you went Bobcat, Wolf, Bear, and then Weebelow.
So ours was
don't you remember?
We had these like bucket hats.
I guess I did Boy Scouts when I was a kid.
I never did that. I did play.
So that was a thing. So I forgot that.
Yeah, I never with this guy. I did play baseball and football.
I mean, beavers.
I guess.
Did you go camping and stuff, Matt?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to ice my knee here.
I thought you were going to show us your beaver
No,
So-
no, this is
Badge
Somebody-
collection.
merit badges.
Somebody
the
mentioned-
badge thing that you wear.
Somebody just
I'll
mentioned.
see if I can find it. Hold on.
That'd be awesome. Do you have any
Yeah.
pictures?
Not of me, but
Oh darn.
in the chat.
Doesn't
Somebody
that
just
suck? We're of this generation that we have no fucking pictures of anything.
Yeah, is that weird? I find some. every
I
once in
kind
a
of
while.
like that still.
I have a picture of me.
I
on
read
Halloween.
I want to have the memories back of.
Yeah, but I don't want to be the next generation where every fucking thing I do is on.
I think that's fine, though, but
Yeah,
that's technology. That's progress.
I like my privacy.
Yeah, we know. Somebody
I
just said that
I'll
they're
get
talking
your
about
picture.
D&D clubs. They're talking about D&D clubs. When I was
I was talking about the unique.
in the chat. So we actually, when I was in junior high, which it was like sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, but I mean, I forget if it was like I don't remember exactly which grade. I think it was seventh grade. We went and we petitioned the school to allow us to have a D&D club that could meet every day, like a certain day after school, and have a room. And then I still remember Mr. Berquist, our the assistant principal. He asked us to give us a presentation of what it was, and we had to bring our D&D books in. This was in the middle of Satanic Panic, and to his credit, he looked at it all and he's like, yeah, I don't see what the big problem is with all of this. And then he said, if you can get a teacher to sponsor it, then we'll do it. And then good old Mr. Popacek, the science teacher, like he was actually, he wanted to give it a try and wanted to play. So he said, you bet. And so then that was, I think it was Fridays, every Friday after school, we got to meet for 2 hours and play D&D up in the science room. And then because the science room was like instead of like it had like little pods where everybody sat down, because there was like actually like sciencey stuff. There was a sink in the middle of each desk and stuff like that, so you could do all your little experiments. And so it was really cool. We could play our D&D games up there. And it was,
we did ours in the. You could reserve. We had our high school library. There was a room you could reserve, like it was like a meeting room, and we would reserve it every now and then to play D&D in, because back then it was like nobody was really playing D&D.
Yeah, I never met anybody who played it when I was in high school. Or
There was like
grade school.
one or two groups in high school, and that's it.
what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Why didn't you should have done more?
Who?
Some
Barry?
No, play D&D. Everybody should have played D&D growing up.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was, and it still
I
is.
did.
Yeah.
I still have not played it.
Well, how unfortunate for you.
I don't plan on it. It's just not my theme. Yeah,
Well,
we'll wear a space theme or something probably.
space themes.
Yeah,
Space
I'm more in
RPGs
this
never
size
do as
thing.
well. They never do as well.
How would I know? I never played one.
It just I don't know what it is. I mean, they just don't I don't know. Nobody cares. I don't know. Nobody cares.
No, not just you, you old fart. You just want to poo-poo on everybody else's lovely experience.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just saying that,
If it is a D&D first or third, whatever fucking edition you love, it's nothing. It's shit. I know how you are.
I think that everybody should be able to play whatever it is that they want to play and have fun playing whatever it is they want to play. So,
Yep.
And if you play something that I don't like, then you should shut up about it, and I don't want to hear about it at all.
Yes.
But, yeah, what are you gonna do? So Scott, tell us about yours. Why didn't you do more cool stuff in school?
Not sure. I mean, both my parents worked. I mean, how do you drive your kid around if you work all day?
Yeah.
I don't blame them for not doing any of that kind of stuff. Right? They worked long hours. Like,
Were you a latchkey kid?
I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah, I was to an extent.
Did
I
you
will
guys
see.
have? Probably not. There was a commercial that was very sensational. I guess it would be the way to put it. When latchkey children kind of became more of a thing, like how oh my gosh, it's like there's nobody at home when the kids get home from school, kind of thing. And it was. I still remember it. It showed this kid, and this has got to be late 70s, early 80s. And it's he's walking home from school in North Dakota in the winter, so there's snow all over the place, and he's got his his whole jacket on and everything like that. And he's walking home from school.
Oh yeah, I
And
seen that one.
And it shows as he's walking home from school, the key falls out of his jacket pocket, and when he gets home,
I had
yeah, I believe you. But when he got home, he doesn't have his key, and he can't open his door. And then so he just turns around, it's bitterly cold outside. He sits down on the front step of his house and just like this, and as the snow is coming down, and he's just and it's just and it was something about it was very much anti both parents shouldn't work, one person should always be at home kind of thing. And probably from the era, a very what's your woman doing working, kind of mentality.
My mom took care of us. She worked. My parents were divorced when I was young. My mom worked, and then my stepfather worked. My mom never stopped not working. Never stopped working. So
yeah, that's it.
Whatever, it was fine. I think we would walk over to my grandparents' house, which was very close, and we would hang out at their house and swim. Did a lot of swimming growing up. By pools and stuff.
Swimming's fun.
Must be. Yeah, me and Jen were like the differences between the suburbs and all
I could hold my breath for almost 2 minutes.
Ooh,
that was a long time.
That is a long time.
So I went. So this is weird. So I went to a summer camp, and they were testing people how to swim. Right there, everybody had to take a swim test. They were like, "Okay, everybody, hold your breath and go under and hold your breath." And I was holding my breath, and the camp counselor fucking jumped in and tried to lift me out of the water, thinking I was drowning. I'm like, I was holding my breath, man. Can't do that anymore, I'm sure.
Nah.
And I could swim. I still had to be put through the remedial. I was a strong swimmer, as a kid, and I still had to go through the stupid. Here's how you learn how to swim.
No,
I must have not done the swimming test right.
One summer, my parents sent me to a dude ranch.
A dude ranch?
Wait,
that sounds cool.
What's that?
So it's basically a cowboy camp.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You have them in Texas, Scott.
I've never heard of the term dude ranch.
No?
Okay. No, I never heard of it.
So, and they had a swim test, and you had to tread water for 5 or 10 minutes. I can't remember.
Yeah, I felt like I was part of the
that.
test.
I just about died because it was so hard to do it that long. I was a blue patch swimmer. I don't know if you guys have that same system over there, but
the beer?
No, Blue Ribbon. That's Blue Ribbon.
That was patch Blue Ribbon. Okay.
It was a fun camp. We did horse riding and archery and stuff like that. And
that sounds cool.
And,
did any of you ever go to summer camp?
Yeah, that's
what I was just talking about.
Okay, I was just sorry. You made me think about it. And I got an email pop up. I went to church camps. There was always a camp that was associated with my church.
I was just about to say that. So I never went to church in my life as regularly kind of thing. I've gone to a couple of different masses and stuff, but church. I'm not a church going person, and our family wasn't.
Surprise!
That's a nice guy. I don't know who you're talking about.
The Sunday, so every morning we actually had at this dude ranch, we had to do Bible study. and like homework and notebooks and stuff.
Oh my
Really?
gosh. I mean, isn't that's just so weird to me.
It was. My dad was fucking livid when he heard about it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. The cool
Oh,
part
wow.
though was the pastor would have these really awesome stories at breakfast. He would kind of regale everybody with like the Jericho, you know, the falling of Jericho and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 They
Hey,
blew the horns
Uh,
at
Yeah, it was a
Jericho.
really neat. That's one positive thing I remember about it. But it was.
You
You were
I-
at the
I
Battle
went-
of Jericho?
yes.
was
I went
long
to
time
a
ago.
work camp for the summer
Orc
with my
camp?
church. Yes, and paid to do it.
Okay.
It was like a 2-week thing. It was called the Mountaintop, and it was in Tennessee.
Huh.
So from Florida, we would drive from Florida to Tennessee as a group, and then work.
Wow.
We worked hard. It was
That's
all
a-
for poor people,
Yeah.
and we would basically like build them a deck. I mean, not that I was building the deck, but
Right.
I was
That's
working
awesome.
on the deck.
You were helping labor.
I was, or cut their farm yard. You know, they had like
Right.
acres and acres of land, or pick up their trash, or clean out their freezer, or paint their house, or I remember all these things. I'm like, wow, this is really hard work. Thanks for sending me to this camp. And the indoctrination was quite high. Like
Yeah.
it started off slight. I mean, it just got so serious there in the end. I'm like, oh my god, what am I? I mean, I did the thing, but I look back on it like the indoctrination of it was just so intense. Like this is on kids. We were kids. Anyway,
Yeah, I never
I did it
camp or
2 years in a
anything.
row.
Never did anything like that. I remember I did an intern at the Philadelphia Zoo for a summer because of some writing contest I won in 8th grade, I
fancy.
think it was. Yeah, but other than that, we didn't do any I started working when I was 12 too, after school and all that. So it's a little different for me. But yeah, even people I hung out with in the neighborhood, I don't remember them going to camps and stuff like that. Maybe it's a suburban thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Probably.
Or
When we were-
rural.
When we fostered, we sent Sam to. She was like, I don't know, 13 or 12 at the time, maybe 11. No, she was about 12, and we sent her to this awesome fucking camp. For 2 weeks, it was like $2,500.
Wow.
But she had an amazing time. And then the next summer,
She was cleaning farms and tilling
yeah.
fields. It was great.
And then the next summer, she ended up going to the Boys and Girls Club camp,
Oh.
which was a little bit more modestly priced, but it was not the same experience.
Mm,
I want my zip line.
I never
Yeah.
went to traditional camp.
yeah,
Sleepaway camp. Never did that.
yeah.
I've only done it once.
I mean, I did the sleepaway camp was the work camp, but I wouldn't call it fun.
I think I did band camp once, but I did
Isn't
not.
that
go
called
flute.
Debtor's Prison?
No flutes.
Scott?
No flutes.
That would be impressive for you, Evan.
Right. Yeah, no.
Did you have a flute?
Sorry, Evan, I didn't mean to
I
cut
did
you
not
off.
have a flute.
Oh, bummer.
Let's see. I went to a couple of youth groups because they played pool and basketball afterward. That was awesome.
Yeah, I'm
It's
along.
sweet.
with-
I was a youth group attendee as well.
Yeah.
I'm along with the lines with Matt. My mother was. There was some issues with my mother in the church, so we never. Yeah, there was issues with my mother and grandparents over that too. I like made a couple, the communion and all that, but I never made all of them. That was the end of it. Yeah.
Were you Irish or Catholic?
I am Irish. I always will be Irish.
I was, but I'm
Were
no
you
longer
raised
Irish.
Catholic? Were you raised Catholic?
Yeah, I was Irish Catholic.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah. I joke about it being all the. I wasn't even into that shit. I joke about that.
That was
I
an
don't-
intense religion. Some of my friends were Catholic, and I was like, "You got to do what?" You gotta what?
It
I
depends
remember-
on the sect. But
I
yeah.
remember like I had a few friends who were Catholic and they kept on saying, "Oh, you got to come to CCD with me." And I was like,
CCD.
"What
Yeah,
the heck is
I went through that.
CCD?"
What's a
And I-
CC?
Google it. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's brainwashing. It's no, it's basically introduction to the Catholic religion.
They were
for
like, "Oh, you
people
gotta
who
come,
aren't
you
in
gotta
it.
come to CCD," and I was
Yeah.
like, "What is it?" "Oh, we run around, we play on playgrounds, and like it was just like I was like, "Huh, that does sound like a lot of fun," and it's just like it's called Confraternity of Christian Doctrine.
Yep.
But they just called it CCD, and they were like, "You need
because-
to go," and I was like, "Cool," and so I was like, and I remember I
Indoctrinated.
yeah, I basically I went and I told my mom, can I go with my friend Joel? And I was like, and this is one of my friends who desperately wanted to play D&D with me, but his father would not allow him because he wasn't
Oh.
losing him to Satan.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
and I mean, like literally, like like Joel lied and said he was in a different club so he could be in our D&D club, and Joel's dad showed up after school and walked in the room and saw what he was doing, and Joel like cried that he couldn't play D&D anymore. He was having so much fun, but he was
Yeah.
going to lose his son to Satan, so he couldn't
Yeah.
go.
Fair
And
enough.
Damn,
man,
Satan.
it was a real thing.
Yeah,
Satan
but
loves
no,
D&D, man.
Loves him.
loves it, just loves rolling those dice. No, and I remember but I remember going, and I was like, and I got there and it was like, "Oh, hey," and everybody, and there was like there was a thing you could get, like you could have all the fruit punch you wanted, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And then like we were running around in the playgrounds outside, and like we were playing football, and we were just having fun. And then it was just kind of like, "Okay, everybody, we're going to go in and have some pizza, and we're going to have," and we each got like that little tiny cup. Remember, they had the Pepsi logo on the side. You get to like, I got a thing of Pepsi, and I got a slice of pepperoni pizza, and then I was like, this thing's awesome. You do this every Wednesday? Seriously? This is like the most amazing thing. And then it was like, and then they said, "Okay, well now we're gonna break up in groups," and I was like, and so like then I found out, and like, okay, and then my friend like went, because he had like elevated to whatever level that he was in, and then like I was new. So then I was just kind of like, okay. And then we sat down. This guy had a Bible, and he sat there and he handed out these worksheets, and we had to fill it out. I remember, and I was like, and then we did that for like an hour. And I remember thinking, this is so boring. I don't want to sit here and talk about God and Jesus. I just want to go outside and have another slice of pizza and a thing of Pepsi. And I remember then I came home and I had this like little worksheet and stuff. My mom took it and crumpled it up, threw it in the garbage, and said, "You want to go back?" I said, "No." And she said, "Well," and it was definitely one of those things. "So what have you learned?" Kind of thing. Like she sent me knowing full well what was going to happen, and I was like, "Oh," it's like, she's like, "That's why they," and she was like, "Yeah, my mom was pretty, that's why they did all the fun stuff right away so they could get you in, and like, and then they showed you behind the curtain." So
Sneaky.
I'm not, and I don't want people to take this from like religion is bad. I think that if you want to have a belief, if you want to have a faith, if that gives you something, right? It gives you happiness, it gives you community, it gives you, I think people can believe whatever the heck they want to believe, as long as they're not hurting anybody else. Just do it. I have my own personal faith, my personal belief that like I personally have, and I keep it to myself. And it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, and I tend to resist when people are like, "Oh, well, God wants me to do this." It's like, okay. And if you fervently believe that, and you think that that's the case, then I have like I've talked about Pastor Andrew, who's a board gamer that I know. He's a good friend, and he's talked to me many times about the fact that he felt a calling to serve God, and he's a Lutheran pastor, and I have more power to the guy. I mean, I don't know. I just don't want people to take I didn't feel like I was being like, drawn into a cult or anything like that, but I did feel like it was definitely the bait and switch. It was like, hey, go outside and run around and have fun. And hey, come on over here and have a Pepsi.
That's how I felt at that camp.
Have a Pepsi and a slice of pizza.
It's basically summer school for the Catholic religion. It's for people, the outsiders. It's not for the religious.
I remember when
they drilled that to you in school.
I grew up Lutheran, and the thing is that we went and did I signed up for summer camp to like more than a couple times for through my church. And those summer camps were awesome. Yeah, I mean, okay, we had to go and sing hymns every once in a while, but I mean, the stuff that we did, I don't remember there being like this huge, I don't remember there being like a huge church aspect to it, right? I mean, it was like there was, I remember like we got to go on canoe trips and and go swimming and tear around and play basketball. I remember having a blast at the camps that I went to, and I don't remember there being you had to pray before each time you ate, and like I said, then when the parents come, there was a performance, right, where we either sang songs. I remember one year we put on a play. I played Moses in the play. I mean, I remember I was
Obviously.
like, okay,
with that beard.
Yeah, with the beard, at 9,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, yeah. I remember thinking, this isn't bad. It wasn't oppressive. I mean, maybe I'd be different now. Maybe I'd feel differently about it.
Catholics, Lutheranism is just Catholic light, basically. They're all similar, all the Christian faith. They all got their different little things.
I've read a few things about Martin Luther, and they say he had a lot of problems with the Catholic Church or what have you. But
101 problems, I think, right?
Yeah. But
was it 99? Was it 99?
99.
Yeah, save room for the nail to do the door.
Yeah. And, but I remember but I mean, ultimately, depending on what biography you read and whatever is that, I mean, he wanted to get married. I mean, there was a woman, a nun that he was in love with, that he wanted to get married, and he couldn't because he was Catholic. So he was like, well, screw this. I'm marrying my lady. So I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
In that sense, like I said, I looked into a lot of records. They're basically all the same at the core. Don't fuck each other over. Don't it's basically the same at the core.
And I've said this before. I said believing in a God isn't cool. Being an atheist isn't cool. What's being cool is being respectful and nice to what other people believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
believe what you want. Respect for people for what they believe.
I get so annoyed with people that try to it's like, oh, you can believe in your man in the clouds. I'll just be grounded here in reality. Fuck you. Go away. You're not smarter or better than anybody else because they have faith. And the people of faith who are like, it's like, I will pray for your soul, you non-believer. Fuck you. Just leave them alone. They take comfort in just do your own thing. Just do your own thing and shut your mouth. I just
go try.
Yeah, I mean, just I mean that's I God.
Yeah, but Scott.
I don't know.
To answer your question, Scott, I left totally in 2001. I went to my grandparents were having their 50th anniversary. And at the Archdiocese in Philly, they had a group ceremony for people who had their 50th wedding or above, And I went in and whoever it was preaching, was right away started bashing. This was post 9/11. It was right before my grandfather died in August of 2001. right away he started bashing Muslims, gay people, and another group I can't remember. And I was like, I don't understand why religion is bashing people. You know, this religion in particular was supposed to be about love. Yeah. So that's when I formally, like, I've never been deep into it. Like I said, my mother had issues with it growing up in the Catholic Church and the schooling system and all that. But that was when I was just finally done with it. Yeah. But prior to that, in my teen years, I started looking into Hinduism and Buddhism and Islam and, you know, Zionism.
All the isms.
All the
All the
isms. Yeah. And like I said, most of them are very similar.
Cannibalism.
That one I learned later on out in the woods one day, but but like I said, most of them are very similar at the core. They all have the Great Flood. They all have, you know, very similar stories. A lot of them are from one iteration of another going down the line. Yeah. And Jesus himself fascinated the man. I looked into an actual person, and I do believe there was an actual Jesus of Nazareth. Whether he did all the magical stuff, I doubt, but he did cause a movement, and that kind of fascinated me for a while. Just what this man did to do this. Yeah.
I saw a sweet YouTube show about how they found what was likely his family tomb underneath like a apartment complex.
Yeah, nowadays,
Yeah.
I heard that somebody found him on a piece of toast as well.
yes. And then
The grilled Jesus.
Grilled Jesus.
Hey, man. No, I mean, but think about this. Think about this. Okay, ha 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 ha. You saw Jesus in a piece of grilled cheese or whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
You know, but can you imagine how comforting that would be if you were a person that was like, I've got all these problems going on in my life, and I don't know, I have no idea how I'm going to handle like these stresses. It's like whatever. My kids are doing horrible in school. I'm worried about this pre-cancer screening I've got going on. I got to put my dad in a home. I feel like I'm a horrible son. You're dealing. These are all hypothetical things, and all of a sudden, like, you're a fervent believer in you have faith in your God, and all of a sudden, like, you cook a piece of toast and you look down and you see Jesus looking at you saying, everything's going to be okay. We're going to find a way to get through this, and everything's going to be all right. Can you imagine how like utterly like soothing that would be? I envy that ability to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just like and all of us on the other side, you idiots. It's just like, so a piece of toast burnt a certain way. I mean, we can crack wise and have our laughs, but I mean, man, oh man, I firmly believe the people that have like figured out, I mean, like that faith is something that they really truly feel and believe every single day of their lives. I'm so envious of that. I can't imagine just how like calming and serene, how much less stress I would have if I truly believed 100% that like something was like guiding my life in some direction and that everything had a purpose. I can't even imagine how great that would feel. I don't know. What are you gonna do? I mean, it's just like
I often think about, like, in the 60s, maybe a little earlier, 50s, 60s, like, religion was much heavier ingrained in our society than it is now, I believe.
How could it be more? Well, I don't know. Actually, I'm kind of, I don't know if I want to have this debate.
Well, all right. We'll decide if you do, Scott, and then get back to me. But I'm saying, whatever
I'm
religion,
going to step out, actually.
there's more of a cultural thing. Okay.
I mean, it's going places I don't want to talk about. So
then we don't have to.
We'll move on.
I'll just get myself in trouble.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We can just change the subject.
Yeah.
Since Evan's here, Evan, are you going to Origins?
I am going to Origins.
You are.
Ooh.
I am. And I'm going to see one Lance Meister there.
Not if I see you first.
Yeah. And then
Where you guys staying?
I'm staying with my brother. And he said there's one more spot on the floor, but that's not enough space for Shane and Lance. So
Well, we can double stack.
I don't judge,
No,
man.
I mean, and I don't. I mean, never mind. I can't. I mean, I just I'll put it in chat and just like here and then you can respond to the thing. But go on, talk about whatever. And Grant's gonna be there. Grant's gonna be there.
I
Showing up for it.
I just heard tonight that he's going to be doing a like a
Is he
comedy
doing a
set.
show?
Yeah.
Then he's
Like
going
a
to
board game
Mexico.
focused
Where's
comedy
that?
set. I'm excited. So I don't know what night it is or anything, but I'm definitely planning to watch that.
I want him to come to
And,
Ottawa.
I know, right?
That's not gonna happen though.
What did you guys think of the tabletop event system for Origins?
It seemed to work fine. Yeah. It was like, I wish
It's so
anytime you have to go to a separate place. Oh, gotcha. Anytime you have to go to a completely different website to do a thing, it's kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Because it's not integrated into the code of the website. But aside from that, like it wasn't hard to use or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you do any of the events tickets or did you just
No, I'm way too lazy to figure that out. But I know there are extra events and stuff.
I was just curious of what your experiences were.
I probably should look through it because I'm like, if there's like a, because I'm bringing a bunch of prototypes to pitch and stuff. So I should like
Are
actually
they
see.
doing a proto spiel thing or anything?
I don't know. I should look. I normally just wander around. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? You want to check out a game I've got?
I thought that was always the way you do
Pretty much. But I
I'm
should
actually
get more
curious
organized.
of the attendee of a proto spiel. I envy that person.
Just go and play a
What
bunch of
I just
prototypes.
cannot get excited about playing games that aren't finished.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Playtesters are a special breed.
I
man.
know exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what is inside of you that makes you want to play broken games? Like I just
Yeah.
don't-
I
maybe
have,
that's regular gaming, and they're like,
yeah.
I want more gaming,
Mhm.
or they have this appetite that cannot be quenched of games. I don't know. I mean, I did it for one of my friends, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna stop playing.
It's kind of like going to band practice, where like you want to go to the show, but you don't really want to go to band practice.
Hmm.
Oh, let's play that section again. Let's play that section again. Let's one more time. Just that section. And it's like, oh my gosh. That's why when people are willing to do it and like seem excited to do it, I'm like,
The people
oh,
that are into that stuff. I mean,
I'm so appreciative.
bless them.
Yeah, exactly. I've got two people that come regularly on Monday night to play test one of my games, and they've been doing it for like 7 weeks straight.
You got nothing better to do.
and they want to
souls.
keep, they want to keep coming. I'm like, you guys know that published games are better, right? You guys know that.
Well, I think
Some people are in the mechanics of shit. Yeah, see how it
Not just
works.
that, but
Some people are into that. I get it.
it's not just that, but I think there's certainly, this is kind of their one less degree of separation between them and creating something, like being part of the creation process.
That's true.
That's I mean, I think, especially for the people that have been in the industry for a while, you almost take that for granted now. But I know that when I go to my pub nights, I play with a couple of friends of mine, and I'll look through the rule book. I'm like, oh, Bridget did the graphic design on this. He's like, Matt, I love playing with you. You always know all the people that are in these games, and we were playing Black Orchestra, and we had a rules question, and we couldn't find the answer online. So I messaged Philip Dubarry, and I'm like, hey, what's the deal with this? He's like, it's this way. I'm like, okay, cool. And it's that, especially if people are really into board games, and playtesters often are.
Yeah.
I'm sure that part of it is,
Yeah.
I got to help make this and be close to this.
That's true. There's a sense of like purpose and co-creation ownership to being a playtester. Yeah, that's totally true. Like when I see, you know, a buddy's game come out, you know, that like does really well and gets good reviews, I'm like, I gave that suggestion.
Yeah.
You know, the cool thing that gets mentioned in the review or whatever, you know, and you're like, oh, you know, it's just,
you might even get
really
their
cool.
name in the rule book, you know?
Yeah. It does feel cool.
I remember there was this ad for monster.com, the job site.
Oh, right.
And it's just this bland, like beige office with cubicles, and the mail carts going around, and there's this guy sitting at his desk, and he gets handed this package from the mail cart, and it's his business cards that he just got this job at, right? So he picks up his card. He picks up his business card. He's like, like he just like smells it and like just buries his face in it. Like, and that's kind of what the feeling is for, you know, it's like yes.
Yeah.
I know that's what I was like the first time I had
yeah.
my name in the rule book.
Yeah, no, it does feel cool. I can see why maybe for somebody like Scott that might not be as interesting anymore after
Rule book. I'm in 3 Alaboom rule books.
Yeah.
No, I see Scott's. Like I play tested a couple games. I see what he's saying.
Yeah. But I mean, if it's really something, if it's not this like someone who's designed games before.
Yeah.
Like I'll do Matt Leacock. You know, the people who, you know, the designer games I know. If it's beyond, if somebody else, I'm usually like, I don't want to be rude, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to put in the effort that you want.
I got invited to a friend's place this is a number of years ago, so I was like maybe 1 or 2 years in the industry, and he had this card game, and it was like it's just a simple, you know, set collection kind of game or battle game or whatever, and we got to a point in the game where it was clearly broken because it was just it kind of reached an infinite loop,
Right.
and he wouldn't stop the game.
Oh no.
Until, and like a couple of us had said, I don't think this is going to end anytime soon, because we're just this person over here is waiting for that card and it's never going to get to him because of this.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, fine, you don't want to play, that's fine. I'm like, no, it's not that.
So,
Yeah,
Evan, do you find like I play tested the early versions of Ashes with a plaid hat, and they were having issues with the battle system, and they were taking like, it was like a 2-month break, and then they come back for a little bit, and then it was like a month break until they finally got it. But they lost a lot of play testers during that. Do you find that happens with you?
I don't really have the network of playtesters that a publisher does. You know, I've got like a few people, most of them are fellow designers, and then a few just random other people that are friends of mine that happen to like be slightly masochistic and be okay with, you know, playing the same thing over and over again. But remember, now it works like this, and they do a strategy that now is messed up because the way they were thinking of it the old way, and then it's now a different way.
Yeah,
it's like it's a whole thing. So like very, very small crew of playtesters, which is like, you know, when you get a game signed, one of the cool things about working with a publisher is they have a wider network of playtesters, right? So you can actually get wider feedback and be like, oh, all right, well, what was working with our group obviously is not going to gel with that publisher's target audience as well, right?
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, but like I said, I've tried a couple. I don't have the patience for that. It's just it's tedious. It really is.
It can be for sure. especially if somebody's, like
sucks
Matt,
the joy out of games.
yeah, like your experience, Matt, where you're like, okay, so we should probably stop here for now, huh?
Yeah.
And come back to it when it's when you fix that, right? No. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, we could totally keep going. We could do that. Yeah. But you run into that stuff sometimes. But
I mean, and they're your friends, so you want to be as encouraging as and supportive as possible, and it's tough. It's like having been around so many games now that are in limbo or in various stages of development.
yeah,
You get to be able to find, I mean, I'm not a game designer by any chance, by any stretch of the imagination, and it's not something I enjoy doing. Assessing my play experience is something I'm happy to give my opinion on. Sorry, that's my Gen Con hotel.
Get the room.
Mhm.
The thing
We're gonna
is,
see what's
man,
available here. It's a Skyway room, so whole Skywalker.
I heard those. The thing is, everybody's input is valid if you know where it's coming from, right? Like designer input is different than other playtester input. And as long as you know the lens through which the person is giving the feedback, you can make a lot of it regardless of that person's background.
Yeah.
Like, like Wonderland's War, I've probably played like 6 versions of that were, because Tim lives in town here, we're buddies.
Yeah, for sure.
So I probably played like, 6 or 7 different versions of Wonderland's War. And like, it is a very different game, like wildly different than it started.
So I append all of my revisions for the rulebook PDF for any proof with a D and then the number for like design 3, design 4. I increment that every time. Right. The Wonderland's War rulebook, 39. It takes the prize so far. It's the undefeated.
It's a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Honestly.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It took longer to play than I thought it would too.
Me too. Like it didn't bother me because by the time I got to the end, it was a surprise how long it took, rather than like feeling the time. I wasn't like, man, when is this going to end? I was enjoying myself the whole time. And then I was like, wait, what time is it?
What time is it?
Yeah, I have seen games. TC Petty did one.
JC Penny?
Petty.
JC Penny's?
TC Petty the third.
I love their
Dice
fall
Hate
line.
Me guys.
PG Max? What?
Yeah, he did a game. He brought the beer mongers, and it was in the very early iterations. And then I went to an unpub in Baltimore, and it amazed me how much it leaped. And this was like within a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And then the finished product was even, I can't remember the name of the game.
My Father's Work?
No, this was like 4 or 5 years ago. Or probably 5 or 6 years ago.
That looks cool though.
Did any of you guys get that My Father's Work?
No. I heard about it, but
Renegade game published by TC Petty, published by Renegade. I think the app is not ready.
Oh, really?
Like, oops.
Uh-oh. I mean, I guess those things happen.
I think there's a web app, but I don't know if I'm not sure 100% if it's real.
I think I saw a Man vs. Maple playthrough. It looks cool.
Yeah, no, it's here, sitting here in my kitchen.
Oh,
waiting to play.
Can I bother you guys with the story?
42.
It would not be the Alaboom unless we had land stories. So go.
So no, 2 things that recently happened. First thing is, it was here's my little
picture it, Sicily.
First thing that happened, like middle of like we finally got one of our very first hot days. It was like 88 degrees outside, and I was like, man, the house is just like it's warm, and I like was looking and like I looking at the thermostat and the air conditioning was on and it said it was like it was 86 degrees inside the house. I was like, well, this is stupid. Why? And it's set. And I was like, where it's set for? Okay, it's set for 70, so that's not good. And then I was like, So then I walked over and I put my hand next to like one of the grates and like I felt nothing, just nothing coming out. I was like, well, that's not good either. And we had just had somebody come out and fix the air conditioning because over the winter, I told the story,
Guaranteed callback.
a mouse had crawled in and chewed through some of the wiring and so and fried it. So and killed itself in the process. But so I was like, all right, well, and I was like, so I called up the place and I reset the thermostat, did what I know what to do. And by what I know what to do, I mean I Googled what to do and then and I followed the instructions.
And then the house blew up.
And of course it's over Memorial Day weekend, right? So it's like, it's not like, people will come out, but they're gonna be all like, yeah, let's get the money going, and I was just like, can we just all just deal with just running some box fans and just try to be comfortable. And so I called him and I was and this guy who's come out to our house twice to fix like things with our thermostat and then with air conditioning, super nice guy, like super nice guy, and like I got him and he was like, hey, and then I even said to him, yeah, so like I'm having some, he's like, hey, wait a minute, you're the guy that makes the board games right out there on I was like, yeah, and he's like, okay, yeah. I was like, am I talking to this guy? This name's Dustin. And he's like, yeah, it's me. And I was like, oh, it's weird. I was like, why are you working on a Sunday? And he's like, oh, I'm just on call. I'm like the 24-hour on call guy. And I was like, oh. And then I explained to him what was going on. And so he was like, okay, well, I mean, it's most likely one of these two things, and he was just like, so he's like, look at your filter on your your furnace. And I was just like, okay. And it's like, it was pretty clean. And he's like, okay, well, go get another one, go over to like Menards, get another filter. And he said, I'm going to have you do this. And like, one of the things he said, so you're going to go outside and you're going to turn on your hose and you're just going to pour water inside your air conditioner. And you're just going to run water over all the pipes and everything that's on the inside of your air conditioner. And I was like, this sounds like really dangerous. He's like, no, I mean, it's meant to be outside. It's meant to get rain. You're not going to hurt anything.
Yeah.
And he was just like, and he said, what I'm thinking happened is that maybe you have an old filter or maybe you've closed up some of your vents. And so the cold air, basically froze the coolant. Like he said, like a lot of times what'll happen, it's like the coolant won't move anymore and it'll get frozen and so it's nothing circulating. And so, so then I went and got the filter and then, started pouring, just turned on my hose and just started pouring water in an air conditioner and he said, and then do that. And then he said, wait 2 hours and then turn on your air conditioning and see if it works. And I was like, okay, cool. And so then, this guy, I mean, you guys will never even like this guy, like his company, Comfort Masters or whatever. I would never recommend anybody I would recommend this because like he actually called me back 2 hours later. Like I was like waiting and he's like, okay, how's it working? And I was like, I still got 9 minutes left on your 2 hour timer. He's like, let's turn it on and let's make it happen or whatever. And yeah,
you
sure.
gotta hang on to those guys. Those are
no, right. he was super nice. Yeah. So if you're watching
awesome.
this in the Fargo Moorhead area, I would strongly recommend. And I even said, what do I owe you for your time? He's like, nothing. You'll call me again. It's like, you're a good customer.
Yeah.
You'll call me again. Don't worry about it. Glad it's running.
That's great. That's really great.
Then the other thing is that, and I know, well, Barry's not here to make fun of me. We had to switch a light fixture on the outside of the house. And I was just like, and I've messed around with electricity more than a few times and I fixed things but I'm always just so freaking tentative with doing it. And basically we had to remove the outside lamp and then put this one in that has a motion detection. But God, I'll say this, got the other one off, removed it, got the other one, connected all the wiring. The fact that they just let anybody connect wiring on the outside of anything and they do anything, putting the wires together, screwing those little caps on, making sure the ground works, putting it all together. And then there's that horrible moment where you turn the power back on the breaker and you reach over and you're like,
Yeah.
and then the light comes on. You're like, there's something so stupidly empowering about that. It's just like, I give light and power.
Let there be light.
Yes. Yeah. But I felt good about that. I felt it was like almost as good as when our dishwasher stopped working like 5-6 years ago. And I managed to figure out like by Googling what was wrong and like getting the correct part and opening up the entire thing of the dishwasher and fixing it on my own and having it start and work. I was just like, my father, like something clicked in his brain. He's like, I don't know why I'm feeling really proud of my son right now, but
I have a grievance.
Go for it.
Ooh.
I love Matthew grievances because he's usually not very angry.
Speaking of appliances, appliance parts are so fucking expensive. I don't understand why. We had to order our last fridge. It had a glass bottom, like just above the crispers. It had a glass floor, I guess, and which was trimmed in a hard plastic gasket, which had the fittings to fit into the whatever. The plastic broke, so we had to get it replaced. $350.
Yeah.
For a shelf.
I went through something similar with mine, man. That's why. Yeah.
And then it broke 6 months later.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then we had a dishwasher that the tines on it was old, but the tines on the rack were starting to rust off and come off and stuff. Another $300 and some odd for a rack. I could buy a new dishwasher for $450.
Yeah.
You should have just done that.
We did.
That's what a lot of people are doing.
That's how they get you.
That's totally how they get you.
Yeah.
And everything's made of plastic.
Shipping crisis, man. That's increased the price of everything, especially anything with plastic.
Well, no, they were only set up for like 3 months or something with the supply chain to begin with.
Right.
They're wiped out.
Like we got a chest freezer in the basement that came broken. I plugged it in, just no cold, and we checked all the things. We had a guy come look. He's like, "That's never gonna work."
Yeah.
And then so we called the company, and they were willing to get us a replacement, but they're like, "But
we don't know when you're gonna get it.
We don't have it, and we're not gonna for a long time. It's just not a thing right now." So it's been sitting down there for like a year.
Wow.
We still don't have a new one.
No.
It's just
so we had a storm breeze through Ontario a week or two ago, or last, I was whatever it was, 10 days ago, and we lost power for 3 days.
Yeah, you were saying
some people just got their power back yesterday, which was like 11 days. Some people still don't have their power. I think there's like 2,600 homes that don't have their power back yet.
Wow.
And $26 million in damage or something.
Yeah.
But I had a point and it's just gone.
Welcome to old age.
What are you talking about, Evan?
Supply chain issues.
Oh, fuck.
Parts.
I was talking about. I'm sorry.
Deep chest freezers.
Deep chest.
Yes. So the shop. So we have a generator. So we brought the generator over to the shop. I wheeled it over. Some jackass made a comment of like, usually people just walk their dogs. I'm like, fuck off.
Blow it out your ass, he said.
So we get the generator in the shop because we keep the two freezers and the fridge going. There's just like thousands of dollars of merchandise in there versus the couple of $100 at home. We ended up throwing like 3 or 4 garbage bags of food out at home, but whatever. Power comes back on. We have this home upright freezer for all of our stuff, and the power fried the freezer coming back on.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
There's something else going on there, Matt. You better.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's really interesting because most appliances have like things that
surge
stop.
I think it wasn't when the power came back on at first. What happened was, I think the next day I'm sitting in my desk where I am now, and the power went off, and Giselle calls me. She's like, "Can you bring the generator over?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be right there." So I'm walking over. By the time I got, like 5 minutes later, by the time I walked to the shop with the generator, the power was back on.
Yeah.
I think there was a surge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it yeah.
And
so we ended up having to go to Home Depot to buy a new freezer.
And your breaker didn't trip, huh?
Yeah, it's
interesting.
Yeah, that is. The main should have popped.
I don't know what. I mean, this was a freezer we got for free from a friend, so.
Right. So who knows?
No money lost.
Who knows what was going on in there electrically?
Yeah.
You should just take it over to leave it in their front yard. Say thanks for fucking nothing.
So bitter.
Friendship over.
The upright freezer. Like my grandpa's upright.
So sorry,
freezer,
it appears your freezer seems to have stopped working.
It's like 60 years old or whatever, is still running.
Don't touch it. Don't do a damn thing to that thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to.
Don't touch it.
I have to. I gotta defrost it. I'm gonna have to. I gotta set some time aside, and I think I'm gonna do it Friday night. I'm gonna have to.
Then
turn
you're
it
just
off.
praying to the mechanical guys that it comes back on.
Oh yeah, you plug it back in, and you just,
My friend had a Kelvinator with the ka-chunk, that big.
I don't even know what that is.
A Kelvinator?
Yeah.
It's
with a K.
It's like a 1950s kind of big fridge with the big silver handle, like clock.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it was gorgeous. It was just beautiful, but the thing sucked power like a friggin' leech.
Oh, they still make stuff. I'm looking at current stuff. I need to find old one.
I was talking to Jen. We need another fan for in the house, like a pedestal fan or something. It's like I miss. We used to. When I was a kid, we had, which was old then, a window fan made of steel. I remember that. It was a heavy son of a bitch, but it was like an air conditioner. Like just how much air and sucked through and cooled the house. I was like, I miss how they made them back then. Like today, it just doesn't do it like it used to. But I was telling her, I'm sure that thing sucked a lot of juice. Yeah. We just had one of the transformers popped on my street, which I'm glad I know which transformer I'm feeding off of now. It's not that one. But like next door and above lost power on both sides, and the dude just came in, flipped the breaker. It was like Lance was saying, we got one of the hot days. It was like 96 degrees out or something, so everybody's running their central air and all that. So it popped it. And the neighbor's like, yeah, he just came out, flipped it back, and I was like, I'll be out in 2 days. This will be, we'll be going through this all summer.
Yeah. We had a couple of days last summer that were, I think it's like 115, 113, where like siding was melting and transformers were exploding.
Wow.
It's like, it was intense.
Siding was melting?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was pretty intense, man. It's like, ooh, all right.
I melted my siding on my back porch because I had the barbecue too close to the garage.
Oh yeah,
that'll happen.
That's not by weather.
Yeah. And then we lost power in the winter because there was like this sudden ice storm, and like just the weight on the power lines was too much, and they started snapping.
Yeah.
Some trees and all. Yeah. I just went through that when I cut my cherry tree down and all that. All the cable lines dropped. I was expecting it, but I miss my cherry. I have no sheet out front anymore.
Did you use the wood, Garrett or Barry?
Nah, I gotta let I did save it. It's got to dry for at least a year. Yeah, before I could turn it into anything. It's a shame that it got termites. The actual
Yeah.
trunk, where I could have made furniture or something out of it.
I was gonna say those, those like fruit bearing trees, by the time they come down, usually they're not much use for the
Yeah.
wood, like it's either rot or termites or
Yeah,
something.
I still got some pretty big, nice 6-8 inch logs. Yeah,
Yeah.
the trunk is though that would have been nice. It was. I measured it because of the chainsaw. My pole saw. I knew to see if I could cut it. I couldn't. It was 22 by 18. Yeah.
This diameter.
Yeah, like 22 this way, but it wasn't completely around. It shrunk into 18 on the sides,
Yeah.
and then
That's fair.
it was like 15 foot high or whatever.
Oh,
It was 30 years. I know Jen said when it was planted, her stepfather planted it. So it was 30 years old.
that's got to go make his room reservation.
Yeah. But yeah, I had to cut that, and then the boxwood, cause the electric company came in to trim the line, for the trim the trees for the lines,
Yeah.
and they shaved half of this tree off. And I was afraid, like the other half was hanging over into the street. I was afraid it was going to snap one day. I seen
Uneven
the
weight,
wind, yeah. So that just came down for that reason only, or I would have
that's
left
fair.
it up there.
That's fair.
Well, it was starting to. It turned yellow early for some reason. Like I tried to give it nutrients and all that. It may
Wasn't
just
doing
be
it.
so far down that it's not getting it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Again, that tree is probably as old as this house. So back in the 50s. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair.
But I'm the last person
And he's
on this
back.
side of the street with a tree. That was the last tree.
We have a ginormous maple tree on the corner of our lot.
Classic.
Yeah, that's what the boxwood. It's a type of maple. I got an oak over here on my neighbors. I'm afraid that's going to come down on my house. We were talking about that.
Yeah, same for the maple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I don't know much about maples other than for whatever reason, like the Latin name, but is it only certain varietals that you can actually like tap for maple syrup?
I don't know. You can tap a lot of different trees.
Yeah.
You can. It's not just maple. You can tap for syrup.
Yeah.
Okay.
People.
That cherry tree, for instance, you could.
Oh,
Really?
That's sapped up. Yeah, that's sapped up.
Get some cherry syrup.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Pine, I believe they used to do it back in the old days with.
Really?
Yeah, they made tar, and I think they made like a syrup out of it.
Huh.
But yeah, maple's the big one. Yeah,
Right.
There's birch syrup you can make.
Yeah,
Really?
birch.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I guess it makes sense that
People used to make shit out of anything back in the day.
That's
Yeah.
So, evergreens,
Yeah.
evergreens or coniferous trees tend to not have. Tend to not have edible.
Okay.
Syrup.
So don't eat pine syrup.
Right, pine. Yeah, you're right. Tar.
Deciduous trees,
Yeah.
I think, are the ones that are a little more friendly to that.
That makes sense.
It's funny. I was watching. You know who Emily Van Camp is? She's an actress. She was. She played on. In Marvel, she was in Agent. She was Agent 23, or no? What was her name?
I'm so bad at knowing.
Oh,
people.
Sharon. She was Sharon.
Yeah. Agent.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
So she's from Canada. She's from. I think she's from Ontario somewhere. And she was on a talk show, and somebody said to her, she's like, "So what did you do for the holidays?" She's like, "You're gonna laugh." And like, what? I think it was James Corden. He's like, "Well, what did you do?" She's like, "I went home to visit my family, and we made maple syrup."
Awesome.
Like, you are a Canadian, aren't you?
She.
Her boyfriend is Joshua Bowman.
Who's that?
I don't know, some dude.
Some guy
dude.
So yeah, so I have a bit of a grievance, but it's not really a grievance. It's more of a sad thing that happened.
Is that for after the camera stopped rolling, or is it for now?
now.
Okay, I'm in. I'm ready.
Costco just had a sale last weekend that if you spend over $1,000, you get 20% off.
Okay.
Which is a decent sale. And they had Aeron chairs available.
Mhm.
Air. Okay.
And they're like $2,000 chairs.
Mhm.
I saw one, and their regular price was $1,600,
Yeah.
less 20%, which was like $1,280. Saturday, because it was Saturday, Sunday only. I'm like, Saturday, okay. I'll sleep on it.
Uh-huh.
Sunday morning, get up. Yep, I'm gonna do it. Sold out.
Oh,
What you get, man.
That's what you get for.
If you want the thing, get the thing.
Get the thing.
I was so ticked. I'm like,
So ticked.
that, and then my wife would say, well, that's just something telling you that you shouldn't have got it then.
My wife is really funny. She's so averse to spending money, even when it would like save money in the long run or like make life way easier. Like she's just like, that's just, that's how she is. She's afraid to, doesn't want to spend money. Feels weird about spending money.
I wish my wife was like that.
I'm trying to get her to just like, Mike, if you want the thing, get the thing. If it would improve your life, like that's what money's for.
Yeah. The thing lately with us is when we have dilemmas like that, it's like, we're adults. We deserve this. We're going to buy it.
Exactly. Like, obviously, if you're like, putting our house in jeopardy with a purchase, like
Sure.
maybe don't. But,
but I sure do drive a nice car.
Right.
With a hell of a sound system.
But I'd go from 0 to 60 at 2.56, my friend. Flat.
Jed she'll go, she's got a thing for sales. I don't like, milk was on sale once. We don't drink milk. She's lactose intolerant, and like I rarely drink milk. So she came up with 2 gallons of milk, and I'm like, "What?"
I saved $5.
Yeah, that's what her mindset was. And I'm like, okay, so when I throw a gallon of milk away in a month, yeah.
So in the state, you guys have these, like, there's those shows, those extreme couponing shows.
Yeah,
and that's not a thing in Canada.
Oh,
where well, we have coupons, of course, but it's not, you can't get coupons to the point where when you get to the cash, you actually have a negative balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
I think it's a gimmick myself. It could happen.
Yeah, it was pretty.
I've seen it.
Have you seen it? Really?
I've seen it. Like, it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while, you're standing in line and you're like, oh no, I chose the wrong line.
Yeah.
Because the person in front of you like rifles through their purse, like pulls out like all these.
Pull out an accordion friggin' file back thing.
Yeah.
No, wait, I've got a coupon for that one. Oh, and I've got a coupon for that. And the cashier looks at me and he's like,
Save yourself.
Yeah.
Save yourself.
Run. It's gonna be a minute.
Yeah. We went to this. It's called BJ's. It's like a warehouse club. It's Sam's Club or Costco's. I guess it's just a regional one.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've been in. Yeah, this is the first time I've been shopping, like grocery shopping and stuff like that, in 5 years. Right. So that was a shock to begin with, but there's just a price increase.
Wait, it's the first time you've been grocery shopping in 5 years?
Basically, yeah. No, I'm lying. I went once with Jen about a year ago. Yeah.
Jen does it all?
Yeah, well, she works at a grocery store. So
Oh,
that makes sense.
You got to lead with that, Harry.
But
Men don't grocery shop.
no, I used to, because I do most of the cooking.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, and that's why we're losing weight, basically. But
Because you cook healthy or because it's not very good?
the opposite of not very good, and it's cooking healthy.
All right, that's fair.
Jen's very bland cook, very impatient cook. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then she orders out a lot.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's a death sentence.
That'll do it. Yeah.
Not just to your waistline, but the budget too.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
But I started cooking, just like I said, she's impatient.
Yeah. That's fair.
And she doesn't plan ahead. Like I'll plan a couple days. Yeah. which was a lot of our budding because she'll shop for a couple of days and then it's like I don't know what to make because I don't know what's there.
Yeah.
We're working this out anyway. But we go to this BG and I'm looking around and it's all like combat boxes and shit, and I'm like, Jen, there's only two of us. Do we really need this membership? Like what do we buy here? It's like we're not buying a rack of rib, a primordial rack.
Side of beef.
Two of us. Yeah.
If you got that chest freezer, man,
We do have another freezer. Yeah, we
then you can do it.
it's
If
an
it's
old,
running.
it's like Lance's. It's 30, 40 years old. I
Yeah.
defrost it once in a while and I pray it works when I put it back in,
They have
I
these
thought
things
about
here-
dusting it out one day and greasing it, and then I changed my mind. I'm like, no, we're not touching this thing.
They have these things here where you can, there's these companies that come to you and they say they'll sell you like a side of beef and it'll be like a half a cow, and you can get it in several different ways. You can get some of it in burgers, some of it in steaks, some of it, and they'll prepare it however you want. And it's meant to go in the freezer. But we thought about doing it one time. It's like, we like beef, but I can't imagine buying a whole half a cow.
I thought about it and butchering it myself. Like, there's a couple of farms around here, where you can buy a side of beef, and they'll butcher it or you butcher it, whatever.
Yeah.
Me and one of my uncles and a brother were talking about it, and we still are thinking about it. It was like, I think it was like $1,200 for the side of the cow.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Or it may have been 812 for a black Angus. I don't remember, but I did if I need help lifting it, obviously now, and I need Jen not to be here. Yeah,
You'd lift half a cow.
She's like, could you really do that? I was like, Jen, I butchered a fucking deer. What? A cow's no different. It's actually, a deer's easier. It's smaller. You can move them around.
Yeah.
But it's like, especially like I said, I saw the price of meats and all that. Again, 5 years and the COVID and all that. But I'm trying to do the math in my head if it's worth it, and all that. But
Go ahead. Sorry.
I guess.
I was going to change the subject.
Okay.
I prefer red Angus.
I got a local photographer to shoot Wonderland's War for me, and she was very inexpensive. And then I got the photos, and I understood why she was very inexpensive.
Yeah,
they're like really dark and not very. And she's not a gamer, which is another issue.
Right.
That I
Yeah.
understood. So I posted on the local photography network Facebook page, and I got contacted by one person. She's like a geeky photographer, and there's pictures of her in cosplay and playing board games with her family. I'm like, yeah, that's the person I need to. So her stuff is great, but she's at least double what the other person was. And I'm like, I'd love to use you, but I just can't afford to. I said, I'm happy to pay you for your full day rate, but can you do this for your full day rate? So
right.
And she's like, I'll let you know.
Can you get it done in a day? Yeah.
There's this video that I always share to people. It's the vendor client relationship, but in like for agencies, but in the real world. So you have like this girl sits down in a hairdresser's chair, and he's like, all right, what are we doing today? She's like, well, we're gonna do the cut, but I really want to get my highlights done too. So, but I only have the money for the cut. She's like, so just the cut? No, the highlights too, but I'll make it up for you next time on the next one. He's like, doesn't really work that way.
You think about the exposure you'll get though.
Or these two people go to this like fine steakhouse and they're looking at the bill. They're like, yeah, he's like, there's a problem with the bill. The waiter says, like, yeah. So we went to the taco hut the other day and we had the beef tacos and it was $10. And filet mignon is $40.
Were they really good tacos?
And he's like,
tacos.
dude, this is not the taco hut, man. And then they asked to see the chef. The chef comes out. He's like, okay, I'll tell you what. If you show us how you did it, so that we can do it on our own, like just all the shit you hear at an agency, right? And it's just, I'll put the link in the chat. You should watch it. It's friggin' hilarious.
Yeah.
You try not to be cynical about this stuff, but it just sometimes you're like, come on, man.
Mhm. You break them up walls. Come on. You break them up walls.
Yeah, and I even when I responded to this photographer, I'm like, listen, I don't think you're in our price range. I'd love to work with you. And if there is something you can do, great.
Right.
But I'm not expecting you to. This is a conversation we have all the time as well. So I understand if it's a pass on this one.
Yeah.
So I tried to be as acknowledging the fact that I'm not trying to nickel and dime her.
No.
I mean, all you can do is say, hey, here's where I'm at.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work
Yeah.
for you, well, I'll have to find somebody else. It's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like your stuff. And if you can't, because people have different, situations in life and they need more or less for what they're doing with different things.
And to be honest, the photos aren't worth that much to me.
Yeah. Right.
They're worth a lot, but they're not worth what this person was asking.
Right. Maybe in a different industry.
Or maybe for a different purpose.
Right.
The photos for me are glamour photos and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some social stuff. Oh, absolutely some social stuff. But really that was it. And it's the ROI I'm going to get off these photos is not going to be
right
anywhere near what I invested in.
Yeah. Totally. They're vanity shots.
Yeah. Board game boudoir shots. Oh,
I hate to break it to you boys. I am like exhausted.
You tuckered?
I'm tuckered.
You plum
That
tuckered?
happens.
We won't have a show next Wednesday because we'll be in Origins. But if you're at
Yeah.
Origins, we can
Is
hang
it
out.
already?
It's next week, man.
Holy shit.
I will be taking a red eye Wednesday night.
Are you going to Gen Con?
I am getting up at like 2 or 3 in the morning on Wednesday, driving to Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is about 3.5 hours away, and then flying out of there because plane tickets out of Fargo were like $950.
Planes
to
don't
Columbus.
run out of Fargo.
Well,
And how
no,
much
they
were they
normally
from
do. It
Minneapolis?
was just weird,
What was the difference between there and Minneapolis?
like $600.
Difference?
Yeah,
Wow.
Holy shit.
it was.
Yeah, man.
ridiculous.
I bought my tickets late too. Like I think my total for the flight was like $900.
I will be at Gen Con. And my
Wow.
daughter will be with me too. She's coming
Well,
with. She's,
that makes
she's
me
going
feel
with the booth.
better. That makes me feel better because I've always been under the impression that flying to the States from Canada is always way more expensive than it is within the States.
I think it probably depends on where you're going.
Reno is not cheap to get to
Yeah.
for us.
How much is your flight?
To Reno? It was when I went in 2020. It was like $800
In
Canadian.
2020. My flight down there, I don't really remember it, but it was probably like 400 or 500.
Yeah,
if I
which
had
is
to
about
guess.
5 or 6 for us.
Yeah. So still cheaper, but
Yeah,
but like right now, my flights to like I said, like $900, 800, $900 to get to.
so if I were to fly to Origins now, it would
Columbus.
cost me
Let me guess. And this is in Canadian.
Yeah, it's in Canadian.
1350. Final answer.
$1. No, I'm just kidding.
Great flight deals from $1.
I'm at cheapflights.ca. We'll see what it's still loading.
And then we have to let Lance
Canadian
go.
internet. Give it a moment.
What did you say, Evan?
I said 1350.
So cheapest is $7.93
Oh, nice. Okay, all right.
to
That's less than I
Columbus, right?
spent.
That's where it is. It's in Columbus.
Yeah. Well, how long's your layover? That's the question for that.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
leave at 9:45 in the morning, and I get there at 10 p.m.
There you go.
Jesus.
No,
That's
sorry,
all right.
I might be
no.
weird, but I've never had a huge problem with layovers.
No, sorry. That I was reading the return. So I get there at 2:05 p.m. Not so
Oh,
bad.
that's not that bad. All right.
Yeah, but the
Well, maybe I
flight
just bought it
back,
the wrong
the flight
time.
back is 12 hours
Wow.
with a crazy layover, I'm sure.
Lance, you like layovers?
And then if I want to go with a shorter layovers, it's 16.29.
Ooh, there we go. There we go. Split the difference. I'm right on the money.
Yeah.
As long as you're not good at math.
Mhm.
1303 is the closest to the one. There's that's Delta and Air Canada.
Air Canada. You gotta take this plane. All right.
I will be staying we're staying at like some Airbnb for Gen Con because that's Shane's thing. So
Yeah.
So you're not going, Evan, to Gen Con?
I don't think so. When is it? Just July? Is that right?
August.
Yeah.
August
August.
5th to 8th or something like that.
I guess I could.
Mhm.
I got a room 3 blocks away without going through the Gen Con hotel
Really?
thing. Yeah.
And you're offering me floor space or
Oh, I'm just bragging.
okay, great. Useful, very useful. I could probably shack up with Lance and Shane, depending.
maybe, who knows? Like I said, my daughter's coming with. She's gonna work the
I
booth.
mean, if you want to
so-
share a bed
That's
with
awesome.
Andrew, you can come.
Oh, all right. I'm going to bed.
Good night,
Just,
Sir Lancelot.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Blah 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 blah. And yeah, just be good to one another. There you go.
Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent.